Hello, listening people.
Howdy.
You're listening to Spit and Polish Presents Unappreciated Masterpieces. My name is Ryan Sliwinski.
Everything you've heard is just true, and I am Bartek, and that's also true.
That is also true, yes.
Yes.
And why are we called Spit and Polish, you ask? Well, great question, me as you. The answer is because we are always spitting, and we both happen to be Polish. Isn't that right, Bartek?
Still 100% true.
Yep, that's... I mean, Ryan is obviously a Polish name.
Yes.
Is it? Could be.
I mean, I've met Polish people with the name Ryan.
Oh, there you go. Nailed it. Nailed it.
Like Sliwinski Ryan.
No, just me. I thought you were going to be like, there's so many.
I remember when I was like 7, I had a friend named Ryan, but
He wasn't Polish. I didn't ask him. I didn't get his blood test.
Good point, I don't know.
You don't know. So, what we do on Unappreciated Masterpieces, for those who are not in the know, which could be many, or could be none, we could just be reciting this information to the already faithful, which, you know, you have to just sit back, relax, and enjoy the explanation of what we do, which is we find movies that have not got the love and appreciation we think they deserve. And not only what we think, it's everyone should think this about these movies. These movies need more attention. They're not ones that are completely forgotten, but they're not ones that are completely remembered either. They may be starring people that you know, or made by people that you know, but you don't know the film. And that's where we come in. We do audio commentaries, full-length audio commentaries, and talk about the intricate nature of the film at hand. Because, hey, at the end of the day, someone made this. Time and energy and effort was put in to either the writing, lighting, directing, costume, cinematography, and acting. And that stuff, you know, you can't just overlook that, because think about it. There was some actor who spent weeks getting ready for a role, performing it, and it's forever lived on in film. And it's and people just don't see it. People don't appreciate it. People aren't commenting on the craftsmanship of these movies, whether it comes to the actors, directing, costume, all of it. So we are here getting a film each bit by bit. Yeah, it's emotional. And
Ryan, 101% truth.
You got me. And we are going to cover an amazing film. Each episode we cover an amazing film. What is the amazing, unappreciated masterpiece, the gem that we are covering in this episode, Bartek?
This film has a reputation. It is a film that we very much love, and we are going to tell you how great it is, but much like its brothers, Scooby-Doo, Empire Records, Sorority Boys, The Tuxedo, Monkey Bone, films that we've done on this show, it is featured on a list of films that are either formally acknowledged as Roger Ebert's most hated, or have at most 1.5 stars, or possibly less. Today, this 6th film right here that we are going to revitalize,
Prove Roger wrong.
Prove him wrong, is Śmiertelny Rejs.
Alright, I don't know what that... Look, I've been doing this show with you for what, like 60-something episodes, if that, and each time you say something, the title in another language, and I always assume it's Polish because we are both Polish, but I do not speak Polish, so I can't guarantee to the audience that you are in fact speaking Polish. So I don't even know what you just said. You could have just made up a whole bunch of words just to throw me off. I don't know what we're watching, Bartek.
Did you not listen to what I said? I said Deep Rising.
Oh, Deep Rising.
That's what I said.
Deep Rising,
Yeah.
that cinematic classic, one of my favorite Treat William roles ever put onto film.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, yes, I can't wait.
1998, I believe, right?
Oh, well, you know, I don't want to brag about the movie, but it is the year 1998 was so long ago that this film could have been made today. You know, it looks so good. But hey, Bartek.
What?
Usually we have a guest on, and they usually help us talk about this movie. And this time we are joined by an amazing guest, aren't we? A guest who recommended this film to us.
Oh, okay.
A guest who said, "Hey guys, I don't want to do Starsky and Hutch, which was their previous movie that they came on the show for. I want to do Deep Rising." Who is that amazing person?
Well, I mentioned this a couple of handful of episodes back that we've had 2 guests on this show with this first name. That first name being Sam, but this one isn't the Sam that we had on last time. This is the Sam that we had on the last time before the last time. It is Sam Langsford!
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm so excited that you took my wonderful recommendation.
Oh, Sam, it was always a wonderful recommendation to have Deep Rising. Sam, how are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm currently melting, but I'm doing better in this nice unair-conditioned room.
Hey, we're going to be watching a movie with lots of water, so that will keep you mentally cool.
Yes, I'll just imagine I'm these characters running from something that is just a lovely thing to have around when you're cooling down in the water.
Yeah, we don't want to spoil it yet. So, guys, get your copy of Deep Rising ready, because I imagine everyone has a copy of this. Sam, I imagine that you have a copy of Deep Rising.
It's a pirated torrent because I've literally never found a copy of this legally.
Not even on iTunes?
No, not at all. When I had to find this the first time when I was a small child.
Not even in your heart?
No, couldn't find it in there because it was more filled with terror. Had to find it on late night TV at about 11 p.m. on Channel 7. I was a young lad and I recorded it to VHS.
Did it have all the ads?
Yes.
Oh, you weren't very good then, were you?
Well, I was asleep at the time.
Oh, well, that's a defense. So, get your copy. I mean, don't be a pussy like Sam and not have a copy. Have your copy, a legal copy, obviously, because we want the filmmakers to get the kickbacks.
I think Stephen Summers deserves that money.
He deserves that money.
It kind of sounded like you said illegal, Ryan.
No, get your legal. Don't be like Sam. Get a legal. Don't be Sam, the pirate Langsford.
I've been called a pirate many times, but usually it's got butt at the start of it.
Remember, it's like guys, it's like with letter grades in school. E, that's low. That is very low.
Oh, there you go. So,
but A is high.
We're gonna
so
start
not
an
E.
What?
I don't know if any school ever actually gives E's. Doesn't it just go straight from D to F?
Just
Look,
just
no
roll with
school gives ecstasy to the children, and you're
So in conclusion, illegal, bad, illegal, good.
Illegal is spelled with an I, but we'll get on with it. Get your copy.
Phonetic joke, Ryan.
Your phonetic joke.
Thank you.
So get your copy because we're going to start this in 3, 2,
2,
1, play.
Play.
So we are now 2 seconds in of this amazing film. I can't wait for where we're all. My favorite second in this movie is in fact 9 seconds. Oh, there it is. Oh, it's so good, Sam.
Is it different from 8 seconds? Because I thought that was still the
it
same
was
logo.
very different from 8. So this is one of these movies that we've had very few movies on this show that start with text on the screen, and this text is very interesting because it made me realize that it doesn't come into play very much into the film. Like, the film doesn't end with text. It just starts it. You know, their disappearances remain a mystery until now, obviously. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they filmed the film.
So, Bartek,
Me.
had you seen this movie before we had to cover it for this episode on the show?
Oh no, I think 24 hours before this particular recording that people are listening to is when I first saw it.
And did it make you wet?
This part here did, because I thought it was the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer lion.
What?
The sound that plays during this.
So you thought this was just the roar from
No. It sounded like the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, but he was very cranky.
Well, he's underwater. Lions don't usually live there.
Do you remember the sound that plays during this bit?
It's a lot of whooshing, isn't it?
From my speakers, it sounded like a lion just going crazy.
Well, evidently, it gave us an example of that being the case.
I rewound and listened to it again.
Well, there you go. What about this opening title? That's the best title drop.
Unappreciated?
Yeah.
It's better than the original title.
Which was?
Bit of a spoiler.
What was the original
Good.
title?
Tentacle.
Tentacle.
Oh, that's right, it was.
My favourite porn. So,
Exactly.
I was also like...
Let's not get into the YouTube comments now.
I was-
Definitely some people who get off to this movie.
I was like Bartek very much. I had not seen this movie until I had to watch it 24 hours ago. I only knew of it because Sam here said I should watch it. Even before we did this podcast, he was like, "Oh, one of my favorite movies is Deep Rising. You should watch it."
For
Because
very particular reasons.
and I was like, "Nah, I'm good, Sam. I'm not gonna watch it." And what a fucking idiot I was.
You were a fucking Ebert, Ryan.
I was an Ebert. You fucking Ebert! What a knob end. So he didn't understand the brilliance of this movie. I didn't understand it, and Bartek didn't understand it, but we both understood it, Bartek and I, once we viewed it. Thanks to Mr. Sam here. Sam, could you tell us your very long history with this movie?
It was Millennium. It was me as a 9-year-old on the Gold Coast, and my brother decided to tell me all about this movie and show it to me just before we went down to the pool. Probably not the best idea for a guy who's still scared of the Martians from Mars Attacks.
I love the Mars Attacks.
Oh, they're horrifying. But anyway, it's one of my favourite films, mostly because it features one of the great loves of my life. It's not Treat Williams, I'm afraid.
No.
For a gay man, I'm irrationally in love with Famke Janssen.
Famke Janssen. How is it pronounced?
No, it's pronounced Famke. No idea how to pronounce her surname. Don't know if it's a soft J.
I think
Janssen,
you should
or it's
know.
Janssen.
How about we call her Johnson?
Okay, Famke Janssen.
She's the one that played Trillium?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Xenia Onatopp, GoldenEye fame. Jean Grey.
Yeah.
That terrible
Jean...
Hemlock Grove TV show.
I've never seen
Don't
anything
watch it.
of her work outside of Deep Rising and GoldenEye and X-Men.
Fair enough. House on Haunted Hill?
Oh, the remake.
Yes.
I've
with,
only seen the original.
Oh,
with
Jeffrey
Vincent-
Rush as Vincent Price. It's great.
Nah, I'm sorry, I missed
Well,
out.
this is our next episode.
I
right
really,
there.
I really thought you were going to lead us into some real big twist in which you're like, the real person that he's in this for is Anthony Heald, who plays Canton, who's famous, of course, for being Dr. Chilton in Silence of the Lambs, the character who is referred to in the very, very, very famous quote, "I'm having an old friend for dinner." That character, I loved him the most, I will be honest. I'm leaping right off into the deep end and saying that the bad guy was my favourite character. I mean,
The
it's
guy
very...
who owns the cruise ship?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very hard to say he's the bad guy when all of them are bad guys. Like,
It's a film without necessarily any heroes, yeah.
yeah, except for...
They are literally all bad guys, aren't they? Never occurred to me.
Except for, like, you know...
The captain?
The captain's a good guy. Like, he doesn't get referred to. I personally love, in the IMDb trivia, it says this is one of the few movies that has no heroes or heroines. I'm like, oh, well, the captain seemed like a pretty good guy. Like, I don't know. The monster seemed like a hero.
He was just trying to have his day and just enjoy himself. And
I
then
don't
he just
know
gets fucked over.
I don't know if it's mentioned in the film, but when I was reading up about this film, the monster had a name.
Yeah, they said its name. It's the name
Did
of the
it?
ship. It's
Is
the
it?
same name as the ship.
Oh.
It's the, what is it, the...
Argonautica.
Yeah.
That's not what I heard. I heard that the monster's name is... It's like
Octalis.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
Octopus, but the P's an L.
Oh, well, you got me. I thought the Canton... We'll get into Canton. I want to get
No,
into
yeah,
it.
but see, he says that, but as a nice inversion of that, why the hell does he know this information thing? He is actually wrong in the end.
Well, it's because
We'll
he's
get
rich.
to that part later.
So, Sam has a very long history. He recommended this film to me. He said this is his favourite film because of old Famke.
Old Famke.
And she's a very interesting actress in this movie. Yeah, like I've never. You said we mentioned this in our Starsky and Hutch episode. You said that she was what, number 3 in women that you would turn straight for, have sex with.
Oh yeah, Kylie Minogue and Sarah Michelle Gellar were the first two, and then Famke.
So it's that order?
That order. I mean,
Yes.
he likes his.
Sometimes I throw Lucy Lawless into the mix.
He likes his reddish blonde-haired women, I think, is what he's telling us. at
Reddish
the end of...
blonde-haired women.
Well, Kylie's got blonde hair, but it's reddish. It's red and it's blonde. You know what I mean?
That time she dyed it red. Yes, it was.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. She looks like. You know, can I say this honestly? Does Kylie Minogue not look like a ginger? Like her skin.
I mean, she's got brown hair naturally.
I know that, but she has the skin texture of that of a ginger. You know what I mean by that? And then you have Sarah Michelle, who's blonde, but then if you look at her in the Scooby-Doo movies, it looks like it's red as well.
Yes, because again, she dyed it that colour.
But
Do you not
she
know how
looks
hair dye
great.
works?
Yeah, well, maybe Famke here is actually fucking white-haired. You don't know.
She might be.
So
She is Dutch.
fucking Dutch, you know, not Polish. So we know that.
Close, but
We
no,
all know
no
how Michael
cigar.
Caine feels about the Dutch.
And you know, we have a legendary hero here.
No, Ryan, this is one of the few films with no heroes or heroines.
Listen to the trivia page. Trivia page is on IMDb. Can't be wrong.
I wrote in my notes several times the real hero is Anthony Heald, and I'll be 100% honest with you. Anthony Heald, I wrote in my notes, oh, Anthony Heald's in this, but then I got really concerned that I was wrong, and he was... this guy looks exactly like... This actor looks exactly like William Sadler, who plays the villain in the second Die Hard movie. The one who's naked.
Oh, the naked Tai Chi guy.
Yeah, who's also famously known as Death in Bill and Ted's
Bogus Journey.
Bogus Journey. He plays Death, and they look very similar because they have very similar hairstyles and that, and both their heads look like someone just kind of squished them a bit.
They are a bit big for their bodies. Wide for their bodies.
You're meanie, aren't you, Sam?
A little bit.
You're no prize cow yourself. Oh, that's right.
There she is. There she is.
Face reveal. She's got eyes,
gum.
which is good. Yeah, I thought the gum was going to play into this. You know, I thought, oh, okay, so she's got gum.
She did use it.
When?
You
We'll
really
get
don't
to
remember?
it. We'll get to it.
When was it?
I'm not joking here, right? She actually
Yeah,
does
she
do
did.
something with it in a few scenes.
Oh, within a few scenes. Yeah.
Not immediately, yeah.
But I meant like later. You know Chekhov's gum? When they reveal the gum in the first act, it has to be blown and popped in the third.
Well, it's still...
She does it in the first act.
Yeah,
It's
but
established
she
and
is-
exists within the first act. Who knows, Ryan? Maybe in the third act, in a deleted scene, maybe Octulus, or whatever his name is, gets the gum and chews for himself in one of his millions of mouths.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
right.
got some
right.
bad breath.
I thought Octulus was the name of the black guy that got an axe to the face for some reason. I'm like, I don't think
I
he's
call
going
him
to really
Gladiator,
I don't think he's going to really benefit from gum.
That is some bad green screen right
That's real.
there. She's actually on a giant cruise ship in the ocean.
This is her ship.
She's
Oh, I
real
see.
too.
She's a real woman with
you sure?
real breasts.
You had to go to the breast, didn't you?
They are what are advertised in that scene. Now, what is it about her that gets you going, Sam? And what about it that T-Ray doesn't get you going?
Because he was Kano in the Mortal Kombat movie,
Yeah.
and I hated him because I'm a Sonya boy.
Yeah, see, these things. Hey, so what about Famke gets you going?
I think it was GoldenEye, to be honest.
And that's it. Like,
Yeah,
GoldenEye.
As a little boy, I was far too obsessed with the most attractive woman in the movie, and at the time,
Excuse
I thought...
me, Pierce Brosnan was in that movie. Like, I have to jump there. You're a gay man, and Pierce Brosnan is not the thing that caught you in that movie?
No, not at that period of time.
What about now?
Not particularly, no.
You don't like Pierce Brosnan?
I like him. He's actually my favourite Bond, just to be controversial.
Is he not? It's not controversial. Like, really, it's not a controversy if you say your favourite Bond is Sean Connery, Roger Moore, Pierce Brosnan, or Daniel Craig. Everyone
As long
else...
as it's not the other two.
Every other Bond is a controversy. Like Timothy Dalton or
Lazenby?
George Lazenby. They're the controversial choices.
No thank you.
Come on, what about T-Ray? He looks like, hey, he's about to be seasick and he's Australian, which already made me buy that he wasn't actually Australian. And then I found out the actor's actually English, so that explained a lot of things.
Nobody who claims to be Australian is Australian.
That's where you're wrong. I watched a movie with sharks in it. It's called Sharknado. And the Australian, and this is no joke, there's an Australian character in that movie whose Australian accent was so fucking terrible. It was so laughable. Found out he was from Tasmania.
Well, that explains
So
that,
not
doesn't it?
Australia.
And he was not putting on an accent. It just made me go, do we really sound that fucking bad? 'Cause
Right,
he
he's
was-
not from the mainland.
Have you seen Sharknado?
No.
Because he sounds like this. He's like, oh, crikey, mate. Oh, fuck yeah. And I'm like, is this how we sound? Oh,
Schwartz
no.
and Australian.
He really, he really had an Austrian sound. I'm like, are they confusing Australia for Austria? Because I know that happens a lot. But, so Famke's in this, but he is the real hero of the movie. Benny from The Mummy.
Stephen
I was-
Summers must like this man.
Now, Bartek has not seen The Mummy. Is that correct? None of the Mummy films.
Well,
This actor here, he can fit that all in his trousers, might I add. He plays an emotional character in the first Mummy movie called Benny, who Brendan Fraser's character has a competing rivalry with. Like, they both keep getting in death situations. They both keep double crossing each other and betraying each other. It's like the other should die, but they always keep living and stuff like that. So whenever they see each other, it's like, Benny, and just instantly punch them in the face. Like, look at this guy. He has a real punchable face.
he does, and voice.
Yeah, well, you can't
Well,
blame
he's
him.
my favourite character, guys. So
He
it's
was
just...
he was great. He was no Anthony Heald, but he was pretty good. And I know him. I'll be honest, Sam. I sat down, didn't look up anything about this movie until I watched it, and I went, "Who is this guy? Who is this guy?" And the weirdest thing happened, Bartek. I didn't figure out he was Benny. I figured out he was in the movie There Will Be Blood as Daniel Day-Lewis's fake brother. Have you seen it?
No, I have not.
He's in them. He's in There Will Be Blood with that voice, with this voice. This
serious
emotional
acting stuff.
3-hour drama.
I liked this character the most because he really reminded me of Rob Schneider in Surf Ninjas.
Oh, well, that's good because he did surf at the end.
Oh, he's angry. Look at him.
Oh, it's because he's bald. He wishes he had this long mane of hair.
I feel so inadequate against Joey.
Yeah, exactly. Look at all these emotional characters you're
is
going to
that
get.
other black guy wanting to be Wesley Snipes but can't really afford it?
No, he's the rich man's Wesley Snipes at this point because Wesley Snipes was forever in lots of debt. Or
I think in
owed money to
1998 he was
tax.
still doing alright.
Before he did Blade. He did that in 1999.
That was the year after this.
So he was in the shit creek.
Oh.
So,
One day he'll be alright.
We haven't talked about the plot of this movie.
No, we haven't.
Bartek, I'd like to hear you describe the plot to Sam, who has seen this movie so many times. He said to us before we started this podcast, I didn't need to rewatch it. I've watched it so many times, I know everything about it. Bartek, could you please explain the movie plot to this young man here?
Sure. So, young man, this film is about...
Hey, young man.
This film is about a nice little octo fella who plops onto a ship going, octo, octo, octo. Sorry, I thought I heard like a fourth person laughing.
No, I'm laughing at you twice.
Might have been someone sneezing in the other room. But suddenly he gets very hungry and also very thirsty. But you know how there are certain foods, like when you cook broccoli, you like eat it, but it's also like you're drinking water because there's so much there? It's kind of like that kind of double-edged sword thing, or not double-edged sword, but like a double bonus of like, hey, if I get these humans, not to be confused with humans.
Or hummus.
I love
homos.
He gets them and he puts them inside him, and he takes out all the fluids, and then he takes them out, and they're just, little broken fellas. But these people right here, they don't want to be his food.
No.
They don't want to be seafood. The joke there being that the octafella sees food and eats it.
I thought you were going a different direction with that bad pun, but then you went and made it worse.
If it's any consolation, it was one of the YouTube comments that I didn't include at the end, so I was just stealing a joke.
So that's the plot, is it?
Well, that's kind of the synopsis, Ryan. You asked for plot a lot, but I think synopsis is more...
You don't really want to
I'm
spoil this stuff for the people who haven't
pitch
watched
this
it
to
before.
Sam, here's the movie that I saw. It was an emotional drama about a man who is on a boat and he's doing his job. He's following orders, but he doesn't...
The gum's about to come into play.
Yeah,
Ryan.
exactly. Thanks. He's following orders. He's going to a ship. He doesn't know fully. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't know where he's going on this ship. To use guns. There it is. Oh, you're right. For some reason, I thought that was like when she did that in the film. I thought, she grabbed she wiped her lipstick off on like a handkerchief and stuck it on there. Okay. So what happens is it's an emotional drama about this young man, youngish, oldish, going to a mysterious location and finding out that there is something beneath the water. This young Australian man called T-Ray had to discover the hard way that his friends were not there when he needed them most, and is an existentialist drama about how once he is consumed by a H.P. Lovecraftian beast that he becomes a part of, he lashes out in a Freudian id-like sense at his fellow comrades, wiping them out one by one until they understand his existential nihilistic dread. Until eventually he is thwarted by the emotional use of explosives. That's the film that I got.
Interesting.
Also, doesn't the Australian guy T-Ray look like a... I know that the actor's English, but doesn't he look like an Australian equivalent of a muscular Colin Farrell? In this movie?
Yes, actually, I could say that.
I was sitting here
That's very
going, oh look, Colin Farrell's really built himself up from the ground, hasn't he, at this point? Like, I didn't know he was acting as an Australian. Like, I haven't seen him since Winter's Tale. I'm very happy that he's in a movie again.
At last. Can
So-
I just point out,
No.
she hasn't said her name yet, but her name is Trillian, and I've never understood that.
Well, it's a reference, you see,
Yep.
Sam.
To $1 trillion? Trillian St. James, actually, is her surname.
Yeah, it's a reference to The
More
Hitchhiker's
sci-fi.
Guide, where a character's called Trillian in that.
So she's an alien?
Famke Janssen is...
No, I think Trillian was human.
No, she was human that just got abducted by Sam Rockwell.
Yes.
I'm
She was
sorry.
played by
No,
Zoe Deschanel.
sorry, Zoe Deschanel isn't human.
No, she's
Get rid of her
definitely-
bangs and she looks like an alien.
I'm more familiar
nobody
with,
knows who the hell she is.
I'm more familiar with the books though, so that, it's not so much
So
the actress.
here, Mr. Langsford, you have to explain to me this emotional relationship here. You've grown up with these characters being in this loving relationship. For someone who's new, could you explain what their attraction is to one another? What the film is overtly telling us and what it's implying their relationship is. Because I could say Benny is...
Benny, we'll just call him Benny for the rest of the movie. Benny and
His name's
Layla.
Joey, right?
Benny.
Yes, Joey.
So Benny and Layla...
Joey, Ryan.
It's...
Benny.
You didn't watch the Mummy movies, so you don't get a say. So...
Ryan, are we talking about an appreciated fucking masterpiece or an unappreciated
Hey,
masterpiece?
you haven't seen the Mummy, so you don't get the judge if it's
Answer
appreciated.
the question, Ryan!
I'm talking about motherfucking Benny! So,
You
what
are a
is their
child.
relationship? Tell us more.
I can understand why he would love her, because she is a capable, intelligent, strong, hot woman.
Don't forget she's a woman with muscles.
Yes, chick with the muscles.
Chick with the...
Chick with the muscles. Oh god, I love these guns. They're so unnecessary. They're very necessary for the film, but unnecessarily designed. I couldn't tell you why she loves him, because he would drive me mental.
Well, that's where you're wrong. You see, Sam, I've only watched it. See, this is how much of a connoisseur of unappreciated masterpieces I am. Like that fine champagne she drank out of and licked her finger with.
It's a good prison to be stuck in.
She, Layla, is of course attracted to Benny because she knows deep down that he has a massive cock and knows how to use it and how to stimulate her. That's what I got for the movie.
She knows that deep down, Ryan?
Deep in her vagina. And, at the end of the movie, don't want to spoil it, but Benny uses a surfboard to escape a certain doomed-like fate. And what we didn't realize as an audience is that that wasn't a surfboard. That was his big black dick.
I was waiting for it.
I love it when you can disable a whole entire cruise ship.
With
A
some
whole
CD-ROMs.
entire cruise ship with CDs. Now, Sam, you've seen this before, but Bartek, who did you suspect to be the culprit behind the CDs? Did you have an inkling?
No, didn't really.
You weren't at all
He was
engaged.
too embraced
Look,
in the movie.
I was really trying to just get a handle of every character because this film introduces a lot of characters pretty quickly.
And
They're
you
also
know,
well drawn and deep.
especially my second favorite character is about to appear in this scene. He's I guess
The Radar Man?
Radar Man, the bald man. You'll see him in a moment time, but I knew it was Anthony Heald because they were wearing a white coat, and I'm like, well, he's played by Anthony Heald, so I guess he's the one. You know what I mean? Like,
You just see Anthony Heald and you're like, he's a bad
there's
guy.
literally only two characters with a white coat on in this movie, like a coat, and it's Anthony Heald and the captain. It's like, well, which one do you think it is?
The captain's too nice.
Yeah, exactly, that's the problem. So,
And look at that 12-year-old boy wannabe mustache thing he's got going.
oh, that's a mustache.
Yeah, but for a second there, as I
There
was
he
saying it, I'm
is.
like, oh
My favorite character. I really wanted him to live in the movie. Like, you know how some people, when they're bald, they look good bald, but this guy not so
no.
much. Like his
Kind
head.
of looks like a penis. Speaking of cocks.
No, it's too big. Like
Couldn't it be Joey? Benny's?
Benny's. It is. He's Benny's
Oh, so
penis.
you're in Ryan's side, are you saying?
Yes. I
He
am.
likes penis, so of course he's on my side.
See, what worries me the most about him is that he looks and acts exactly like the characters in Austin Powers who are talking about the thing on the radar screen. That's all
Oh,
euphemism
you
for
mean-
penis.
Johnson.
You mean
Johnson.
Ron Howard's brother? Yeah. Clint Howard.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, look at the Star Trek acting.
No. In all fairness, give this some slack. Star Trek was TV, so it had a lot less to work with.
Yes, true.
This had a lot more.
Whoa, look at it go!
I love it. Okay, so Bartek, this film is a horror movie. We've only covered really one true horror movie, haven't we?
Wolf Creek 2?
Wolf Creek. Like the others have been like thrillers and suspense, but this is a true horror movie where you are met with a bunch of characters that you know are going to be eaten and killed, but in what order and how? And this movie obviously echoes a lot of great movies. Like The Thing was very prominent. Aliens, Predator, Jaws, of course.
Oh wait, this is the best part in the whole movie.
This is the snakes on a plane part, you know, where a poor Asian woman has to lock herself away. I don't know why.
Because she's all scared and frightened, and then this is notorious.
Well, remember,
I know a lot of people who know this scene without having seen this movie.
Well, remember, guys, later on in the film, we get a kind of allegorical story that fits this scene right here.
Yes, it does.
Which is the octopus with the jar.
Yeah.
She was the jar. Because
Well,
he opened her up.
It's actually
the toilet's the jar.
probably for the best for her, because it probably ended a lot quicker for her than a lot of the other characters.
Well, it's very interesting what happens. It spews the blood out instantly, but that's the weird thing. That's what it drinks. So why did it spew it out?
Well, I mean, you're saying spew, Ryan.
Yeah, well, it's sick instantly. I guess it doesn't like... What are you saying? Are you saying this is a racist?
You're assuming that blood right there was inside its mouthy mouth.
No, it was inside of her.
And it popped out like a balloon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He didn't, like, put it in his mouth and spit it out. She popped and the blood flew out.
Yeah, but...
You can lick it up later.
I guess you got me there.
Although, to be fair, this is against my argument here, but later on they do find blood on walls.
Yeah, which is weird, you know, like, that's what it drinks.
Probably enough just in the gooey, fleshy parts.
I mean, how many people...
Can we please talk about the strong Asian man in this movie?
Oh, the guy in charge of the mercenaries?
Yeah, I love this guy. He was actually pretty
some
close
proactive.
to being one of my heroes. Like, because of the one character reason, which was he was such a prick. Like, but the actor, and I mean the actor playing this guy, he has such weight to his performance. Like, you just, like...
He's got intensity. Yeah.
Remove his dialogue and you can tell everything about this guy from his stone cold killer-like face. Like,
He's really
you don't
wide
want to
eyes,
mess.
yeah.
You don't want to mess with him. He's got experience. He knows what he's doing. But I love this actor. He really brought a lot of weight to a role that could have been just a shouty role.
Yeah.
You know, like, I love jumping ahead. Spoiler alert: he dies. Whoops. I love his death. It is so...
Even in death, he's a complete dickwad.
He's a cunt. Yeah. he just does not care anymore about it. Like, oh, I'm dead.
I do like that in his final moments he had to put up with Joey.
Of all the people to be stuck with as he dies.
Yeah, I would have just been... And look, there's Jason Flemyng. I love that guy. He's in everything. Like, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, X-Men First Class. You know, he's in everything.
Does he always get eaten by a tentacle monster in those movies?
Well, he was killed in X-Men Days of Future Past off screen like a chump, so... Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to just assume by a tentacle monster, aren't we?
Well, Peter Dinklage could have been a tentacle monster in that film, I don't know.
You never know.
He was a Nazi in that movie for sure, so I don't know. Days of Future Past, not this movie. I don't think Peter Dinklage is in this.
He's actually inside the tentacles.
He's the torpedo. They're only so tall.
It's like an R2-D2 costume, but for
But
Mr. Dinklage.
For Dinklage. So, we haven't talked about the real star of the movie here, which is, of
I'm
course,
not in this film.
Treat Williams.
Oh,
right.
treat. What a treat.
Do we know Treat Williams?
No.
The Phantom.
You don't know Treat Williams?
The Phantom.
The Phantom.
The Phantom
Treat
movie.
Williams plays the antagonist in the movie The Phantom with the great actor Billy Zane.
Is that the film
Christy Swanson,
where
Catherine
the...
Zeta-Jones.
He's in purple.
Yeah, the purple suit?
He had to
Yeah.
shave himself bald for all the scenes where he was in the suit, but then he has hair in all the scenes where he's not in the suit, so it must have been very confusing.
I've never seen it, but I remember there being a film called The Phantom with a purple suited
The
guy.
best moment in cinematic history belongs to Treat Williams. I think this is fair to say. In The Phantom,
Yes.
his villain is like so over the top, mustache twirlingly evil.
He's the
literally.
villain.
He's the villain.
Yeah.
Treat is an evil guy, I
Yeah.
know. And he gets, I can't remember if it's a scientist or a colleague, to look in a microscope. And you see the guy look into the microscope and he's like, oh, I can't read what that says. He's like, enhance it, enhance it. And he enhances it. And you see from the character's vision through the microscope, it says, like, something like, you are dead. And then he cuts, and the guy is like bleeding profusely. And you see Treat grabs him, and they were spikes that were in the the microscope that the guy drew out by turning it closer, so he slowly stabbed himself in the eyes. Familiar. But how did he manage to read?
I think the implication is that he sees it, and as he's seeing it, it comes into focus, and then it goes.
Maybe it's one of those.
No, that's not how it goes.
It's one of those. It's not slow. You turn it a little bit, and they just go.
No, it's one of those cinematic twists that you can only get with like digital media, where like, you think you're looking through his perspective, but no, you were just looking through. But the microscope.
But he actually says, "I'm dead," and then he just stops talking.
And then screamed.
Oh, okay, then that.
So it doesn't make any sense because there's spikes. Where did they come from if he doesn't just slowly draw them up?
Well, because earlier, before he invites him in, you see him playing with it, and the spikes just come out of the top of it. So you can assume that there's little slots next to the normal
magic spikes
thing that just come out.
My magic spikes.
So Ryan, when you were watching this film and you were looking at Treat Williams' character,
I was very surprised he was a hero.
Yeah,
but he wasn't, so it's okay.
Were you thinking like that he had a Han Solo vibe to him?
No, I thought
he was
looked
originally
like
going to be Harrison Ford.
That was my thing. Like I was thinking, he really feels like a Harrison Ford character.
Really, I guess I got distracted by his look. You know what he reminded me of as an actor in this particular movie? He looked like if William H. Macy decided to be like a mercenary. And he played it like how I imagine William H. Macy would play it, like kind of dweebish.
But just really friendly and nice to be here.
Yeah, like, I don't take orders, I just give them. Oh, alright.
Look, I know how to use a gun.
I have a shotgun.
I wasn't really looking at his looks. I was just mostly thinking about his character, the way he acted.
Well, I have a review later on that is going to completely crush any other casting choice other than the one they recommend, including Treat Williams was miscast in this movie with the choice that one reviewer bravely stated.
What, that it should have been Jerry Lewis or something?
Yeah, it should have been Jerry Seinfeld. What's the deal with Steve?
You always go to Jerry Seinfeld, right?
Why don't you go to Seinfeld?
What's the deal with being eaten alive?
I don't know. Jerry Stiller, do tell.
Jerry Stiller.
So, the plot of this movie is an ancient, like, sea monster, just one, comes up to the surface for reasons.
Hungry. It apparently has been doing it a lot, because earlier, during that wonderful opening, you saw lots of sunken ships that I'm sure is implying that it killed them too.
Yeah, and it comes up and eats them.
Look, Treat Williams has got his muscles out.
Oh.
Still my house.
Sam, stop. My erection can't handle the treat. So
you're jumping under the microphone. Stop, but you have the erection.
Well, he's making it harder by pointing out Treat Williams' muscles. So, oh boy, look at that shirt.
No, not look at that shirt. Look at that treat.
Oh boy, look at that Williams. So, we have lots of characters in this movie. This is very much like Alien Resurrection. If you said this was written by Joss Whedon, I would believe you, because you have a lot of characters with different nationalities, backgrounds. They all bounce off each other in comedic ways, but they're all scoundrels at the same time. I'm not saying that this inspired Firefly, but it's clearly inspired Firefly. Now, here's something here we go. Blood, first trailer, blood. And I'll be honest, I said, well, a lot of people did fall earlier. There was a woman whose face was bleeding profusely, so I was like, well, that's not scary. And then, the elevator opened up. The one that opened itself? I don't know. Like
the doors open themselves when they get.
Yeah, but it's going down to whatever floor they're on.
Maybe a bit of debris hit a button.
Maybe someone just got killed and they pressed the button and it's just too late.
Maybe the elevators are a bit broken. It did get attacked by a monster.
Maybe it's just convenience.
With movies like this,
right? Go.
With horror movies of this caliber.
Yes.
Where it's a creature feature at the end of the day. You know that there's going to be...
Oh, yeah, this is the Octolus film. Yeah. The film with Octolus.
You can say hentai if you want. So, it's the hentai
I'm
movie.
not the one saying
favourite movie.
But some people did say
Wait,
hentai.
You're not saying what?
I'm not the one... Well, right now I am. But I'm not the one saying that this is hentai.
I'll edit that so it's like, this is hentai. And then I'll be like, what did you say? This is hentai.
Do it, actually.
So... We have this movie, this is a classic genre. Do we as individuals like this genre? And what is it that we do or don't like about this genre?
I love a creature feature or anything in a place that you would not expect to be suffering horrible fates. So a cruise ship, that sort of thing. something unexpected. A big monster comes out and eats people. Like, it's carnal. It's primitive.
Yeah,
Carnal.
you have a primitive nature to see a guy get eviscerated by a tentacle.
Yes, but then you overcome it at the end. I hate Everybody Dies movies, so
Really?
yeah. So this
Wow.
This is a mostly everyone does.
He really loves Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid.
Hey, to be fair, only a few people die in that.
Yeah, it is one of those movies that ends with the implication of death. Yeah, you're right. But then, for me, Bartek, I love movies like this where you know that you're not going to get too attached to characters because they're more pieces of meat than characters necessarily, and that's I don't mind that. There comes a time where you have to admit to yourself, not every movie has to be Big Fat Liar. Not every movie has to be 9 Lives, in which they're making a giant statement.
Nine Lives did have an attempted suicide.
A thinking piece movie. This is a feeling piece movie in which you're feeling, like Sam said, the primitive urge. But I think my negative feeling towards this genre is, it's not like this. It's not this genre. This movie has very few jump scares. It's well lit, and each character is recognizable. You know who's who. You know what's going to happen. Today's movies are all shaky cam, can't see what's happening, and just jump scares left and right. And the idea of, oh, this is a mystery, instead of just being like, no, it's a giant tentacle monster.
And with me, very similar reasons to Sam, but I'm more with the whole primal thing of you want to survive. Like films where you're trying to survive, and also with that element of mystery. Yeah, but I think played more games that have that kind of thing than
Crazy
movies.
Taxi was a survival game.
Simpsons Road Rage.
Well, you had to survive a race
Simpsons
and a
Hit
timer.
Run, you could kick people, and they won't
Mario
Marge
Kart.
could kick people. Take that.
Was that your Marge impersonation?
Homer.
Sound like when Marge is angry and just growls like.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to do, but he sounded like, that episode of Simpsons where Bart
It's a gay
imagines
wire.
himself really, really fat. He's like, I'll wash myself with a rag on a stick.
Or one of Marge's sisters, I guess.
Selma or Patty? You have to choose.
They both make the same noise.
Selma or Patty? You have to choose. One's gay, so, if you choose that one, then you're for LGBTQRBLD. Right? So I don't know. I made a few letters there.
Minus times division sign.
The one that isn't gay adopts an Asian daughter.
Or is that the one that's gay? Who knows?
No, Selma's not gay.
Oh.
No, Patty's the gay one.
Typical
There
Patty.
goes the last remaining shreds of my heterosexuality.
She went out with Skinner.
That was the last remaining shred.
No, that was Selma.
No, Selma was the one that Homer was trying to hook up with, but
And then he hooked up with Patty.
Skinner got into Patty, though.
As Marge says, Patty chose the life of celibacy. Selma merely had it thrust upon her.
Which one is it that they asked to marry Apu? She's like,
Selma.
She's like, I'm already Selma Bouvier Terwilliger.
Huts McClure.
Yeah,
Huts McClure. I don't want to add. No, House of People, whatever.
She's the one that keeps getting married, I believe.
She married to Lionel Hutz.
Yeah, I don't think we ever saw that one though. I think that was just an off-screen wedding.
Yes, it was. I was upset that I could never
It's
find
because
that episode.
Lionel Hutz is the same voice actor as Troy McClure, probably. Phil Hartman.
He's dead.
He died horribly. Sad.
Much like the characters in this film.
Yeah. I'll be honest. If Troy McClure,
Also, can I just
Phil
point out,
Hartman plays,
she's trying to weld a giant hole. That's not going
we
to
get
do
it,
anything.
Sam. You like giant holes, but they don't. That's where all the water gets in.
That's not how you fix a big hole in a pond.
Well, you don't know what her tactic is. She's trying to.
Look,
how are you fixing big holes?
If I've
You'd
seen...
have to put a big patch over it and then weld it.
But she has to make sure that this is welded to the ship, or else it'll float away, and then that patch won't be big enough. Or
In
maybe,
cartoons, when there are holes in the boats, you just put a cork in it.
they could have used that fat guy's body.
They probably could have.
Wouldn't it be great if this movie ended where it had all the bones of the people and they just welded that onto the hole?
They just make a raft out of them, put up a sail.
See, why couldn't they be like Benny and just get a freaking surfboard and surf ninja their way out of a situation?
Oh,
Now, I was really upset with this.
why?
That they had Rodney Dangerfield's dead body on the set that day and just said, hey, this guy gets no respect, put him in the movie naked.
Good reference.
I was very happy with that. There was also a good reference, but I was really upset when Layla died. I thought oh, well, that's unfair. I actually would have liked it. This is a weakness of the movie. You do grow attached to characters, sometimes. And when they kill them, you go, that's a cop-out. And I couldn't get over that, because I really would have liked it if, at the end, everyone was wiped out except for our 3 main crew members, And then, obviously, Famke, of course. We don't want her... we don't want her titties drained.
She dies in every other movie. She's not going to die in this one.
Hey, she didn't die in X-Men 1. Hey, she didn't die in X-Men Days of Future Past.
I guess that's...
She came back to life in that one.
I guess that's kind of like...
She's Jesus.
She was already dead now.
The inevitable thing of like, oh, well, the people who die by their very nature aren't going to get the most screen time. And even though this isn't exactly the same thing, although you could argue it is, it's also kind of like with Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
Augustus Gloop is gone after like the second room of the big wacky factory.
Oh, I don't want to be eaten by the tentacle.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, he does. Well, it was a pipe.
The tentacle monster in the Chocolate River, yeah.
Yeah,
There's always hentai.
Willy Wonka's Willy Dick.
No, right, you're thinking Winky Wonka.
My favorite Teletubby, Winky Wonka.
What colour is he?
Kind of like
sorry,
green,
what colour are
pink.
they?
Peachy colour.
Pink, okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Why can't we have a pink Teletubby? I'd rather more Oogie Loves, but we can't get what we want. So, Layla dies in a very sad moment, and I'll be honest with you, there's a moment in this film where they shoot open the tentacle and someone falls out. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be like Sharknado. It'll be the girl. It'll be her. But no. Twist. It was my 5th favorite character, Billy, who was on the ship. And I actually read my notes. Okay, she's gone. But wouldn't it be great if I kept calling him Boat Guy? Wouldn't it be great if Boat Guy's just sitting on top of the ship waiting for stuff to happen? And like every now and then during the intense action when someone's getting eaten alive, or just cut to him like
having a cigarette,
playing cards on the computer. Wouldn't it be great? And at the end of the movie, you have like Benny jump onto the ship to start the thing, and he just gets shot to death by Boat Guy because Boat Guy's like, fuck you, all my friends are dead. And then Boat Guy's the real hero of the movie because he shot Benny up. Oh no. Here we have to say a fond farewell to our favourite
English Australian
Ray. T-Ray. I'm not saying that this guy... what happened to T-Ray? He became a Stingray. Yeah. And since he was Australian, he said to himself, I have to get rid of Steve Irwin. Right now. It's my Australian duty.
Right now, but it took him like 8 years.
Well, he became... Hey, do you think becoming a Stingray...
Sorry, 6?
Do you think becoming a Stingray is a very quick process? Yeah, that's right.
Well, then
it takes a few years to metamorphose.
Oh, I see. So when he said right now, that was kind of
like as soon as he got born. And he was like, I'll be there to get Steve, because it's his Australian duty.
So when he said right now, the kind of tragedy there is that he couldn't do it immediately.
I mean, he wanted to do it when he was a mercenary.
Right.
But he was too busy being on haunted ships. Now, the thing I like about this film is, did you at any point, Bartek, think that this was a ghost movie? Or spiritual, like supernatural? Or did you know straight off the bat it was a monster movie?
No, I just figured it'd be a monster film.
Well, that's interesting, because apparently the marketing for this movie made it come across like a haunted ship movie with ghosts.
The original poster does look kind of...
It's a ghost face.
Yeah, it's like a ghostly face on water.
Sam, could you please tell us the tagline of this movie?
Oh, I've forgotten it.
Wow.
Full scream ahead.
Full scream ahead.
Scream?
Yes.
Scream.
Full scream ahead.
Okay.
Instead of full steam? Full
Right.
scream ahead.
That is a pun worth remembering.
This guy has 2 earrings, so we knew he was going to die.
And like Skrillex hair.
Hey, leave him alone.
You told him, Ryan.
Well, I can't defend him because he's about to die.
But the gun was
No,
helpfully
he's not
dropped
going
right
to
in
die.
my
He's going
hand.
to turn to steel.
See, why does it spit blood? It
Because
was
I imagine
liquids.
he's being smooshed into some hole like toilet
But
lady.
every other character we see gets swallowed and squished. So why is it playing with its food? T-Ray.
I mean, Ryan, sometimes when you eat food, like, bits of it fall on the plate. Not all people clean their plates, and some foods that have, like...
I expect more from a Cthulhu-like monster, Bartek.
Well, isn't that the whole horror of the film?
Oh, you're right. I'm an idiot. I should have known the intentions of the cinema. Hey, look, it's Treat Williams. So we haven't talked enough about Famke, and her breasts are just on point in this particular
Of course
scene.
you have to go to the breasts.
Fine, her ass looks okayish, but it's not. I don't know. It's a bit too skinny and slender. I don't know. She's alright.
She's really quite lucky she got arrested, really.
Oh, that's right. She attempted to murder someone. Do you remember that? It was briefly mentioned. An attempted murder. It's like,
But was her ex-boyfriend?
well, that makes it okay.
I'm sure, and I'm pretty sure she probably didn't date the nicest guy, so maybe he probably...
Yeah, she probably dated Treat Williams and had to kill him. And then he was replaced with another Treat Williams.
There's just more and more of them. They don't
Maybe
end.
she was going out
Oh,
with some...
Good bit. Black guy dies first. Apart from
Hey.
Korean girl.
Except, and Australian guy.
Oh, yeah, true. I take it back.
It's
I
been
take
the
it back.
white.
I've already forgotten them.
Yeah, and then this guy, you really thought he was going to do something because he was like,
Gladiator
I'm really
man.
happy, and then... And it's a really good
Oh,
effect.
that's
Look
great.
at that.
That's great.
I guess he's the first one not to die to the monster.
Yeah,
and all
probably
these
for the
poor
best.
people just get mowed down. Like, look at that.
Except for cowardly Mr. Kent.
Was the film saying like, okay, the black guys died, now we can kill white people? Like, what are you trying to say?
What I'm trying to say is the monster is racist because it leaves the white guys for last. It takes down an Aussie guy. We don't know if his background was Aboriginal or not. We don't know. We don't know. You know, it takes down, and then it eventually works its way up to the English. It leaves these cowardly Americans and/or Canadians. You know,
An English guy.
no, he's the English guy. He's the last.
Yeah,
one.
he's eaten later on.
They're all eaten later on, except for my main man, William H. Macy's ghost in Treat Williams. So this guy's a pervert. That's his character. Sam, you're a pervert. Do you relate to this guy?
Not particularly because he wants to sleep with all the women.
Well, you want to sleep with Famke Janssen, and she's a woman.
Well, see, now that was back in the day. Was sleeping now is just a healthy respect for her craft. She directed
I
a movie with
don't-
Mila Jovovich in it.
Did you think of what I was thinking? I thought you said I have a healthy I thought you guys had a healthy respect for her crotch, and I'm like,
No, that's not what I heard.
I would not reduce a woman to that sort of thing.
I just heard that sleeping is healthy, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, sleep deprivation's bad. Watch Body Snatchers; it would show you why. No, I'm not talking about that one with Donald Sutherland. I'm talking about the 1980s remake with a small child.
There's a 1980s remake?
There's a 1980s remake of everything.
So I remember the 1970s remake.
Nah, you're wrong.
Or the
So-
terrible one with Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman was in a Body Snatcher movie?
Yeah, it was recently with Daniel Craig. It was just called The Invasion.
Oh, that classic. I love The Invasion. Not as much as Deep Rising. So, Bartek, when we went into Deep Rising, not knowing anything other than Sam really liked it.
I didn't know that.
Well, I knew that. Well, you didn't know that. When I said this movie to you, and then you watched it,
Yes.
what was your overall feeling, man? Like, did you feel the dread that the movie set for you, the comedy? What were you expecting?
This was one of the ones where I just... Before I watched the film, I quickly had a look at what was that film he wanted me to watch? Deep Rising. Okay. I went onto Wikipedia just to see if there were any actors I'd recognize, and not really. But I read some of that it's like a horror film. I'm like, okay, it might be like a monster film. So I walked into it, and that's what it was. It was a monster film, which
It's exactly what you want.
I guess I'm not too used to this genre. So it's really nice that one of the few that I could point to and say, yes, I have seen a film of this subgenre is Deep Rising. Because it
Can I just point out that she's wearing sensible flats when she went to go rob the place rather than heels, so better than Jurassic World.
That's Famke for you.
Yeah, she's a very
She's a
sensible
feminist.
woman.
You know that's what the F.
Also, she's a gigantic woman, and they wouldn't want her to be too much taller than the men.
And yet,
Is she?
Yeah, she's quite tall.
and yet, what's on your shirt, Sam?
Oh yes, I'm wearing a Jurassic World t-shirt.
Now, Benny's short, Treat Williams is average height, and Famke's a giant. Now, that's fair to say. You could have said, hey, is this a remake of Lord of the Rings? With Famke as Gandalf?
Well, this
Exactly.
And
what year's the first one?
Treat Williams,
2000 and...
it was after this. 1999.
I feel like it was the 2000s.
You're wrong.
Wikipedia.
You're wrong.
Well, I know the third one was like 2003.
It was 1999.
So that's me.
Before the turn of the century.
Only 90s kids will remember that.
Only the Hobbit would remember that. And that Hobbit, of course, is Anthony Heald
He appears.
as Lord Sauron. A giant floating eye that needs glasses. So,
I'm now imagining
Glasses
the
or
tower.
glass?
Monocle.
well, in his version, he has 2 eyes, Bartek. So, I went into this just knowing that it was a horror movie with Famke Janssen on a boat. That's all I knew.
Well,
I
it's more a
said-
ship, Ryan.
There is a boat, and then there is a ship.
She's on the boat later, but it's not.
And I said to myself, well, I don't know Famke very well. Does she have... And this is true. I walked in being like, is this a movie where she has superpowers? And I was not wrong. She has a superpower of shooting a gun,
Well, yes.
of stealing things once, and
Wearing sensible shoes.
and being smart enough to take off the red dress for appropriate clothes during the movie.
Yeah, but see, that was one thing I don't like, because, call me sexist, but I love
Breasts.
women inappropriately dressed in action movies. See Resident Evil Mila Jovovich.
She's always appropriately dressed. She's wearing tight leather.
Not in the first one, she's wearing a red dress.
Ah, well, you know, the first one is a we don't talk about that. We don't talk about the first one with the mutated dogs that she kicks in the
Kicks
air.
and they die.
Roger Ebert hates him.
Okay, can we talk about the big fat dead elephant in the room that is Roger Ebert and his missing jaw?
Yeah, okay, why not?
He is very
Why didn't he like this movie? Can we put ourselves in the footprints, the massive overweight footprints of the flabby Roger
Well,
Ebert?
though, one of the big points that he just kept hounding on about is the whole notion of been there, seen that.
Which in other movies he doesn't seem to mind, so I'm going to call him a hypocrite.
Yeah, he liked
hasn't-
Phantom Menace.
He has not seen this in another movie. He has not seen the dried up, sucked out remains of people dumped into a corridor.
Yeah, especially not in Event Horizon.
That is some great goo. Skeleton monsters.
No, Sam, I've seen it before.
I'm Roger Ebert. I shit that stuff out each day when I devour a bad movie.
I remember another thing that was really pointed out. This was the quote they used on the
box?
RogerEbert.com's most hated film list of Roger Ebert, was the fact that the ship was like, it couldn't possibly move through those waves or something like that.
Oh, well, Roger, you're picking hairs out of your butt. Like, out of your hole, your sphincter. Right up there, you know?
Catchphrase.
Oh, sphincter?
No, now what?
Oh.
I'm actually watching the film rather than listening to Sphincter.
Sam, how dare you not listen to sphincter? So,
Listen to Ryan.
this is an intense scene here, Bartek. Intense scene here, Bartek.
Where?
This,
Oh,
right here,
The movie on the screen in front of us.
right now,
it's a big screen.
right here, right now. Which one was the most intense sequence for you? Which one got your
Oh, that person's not.
bones going into spasm?
I don't know about scene, but when they find the area that they call the feeding ground, I was like, oh god, that's
Pretty
quite
nasty.
gruesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite gruesome.
Yeah!
I wouldn't want to fight this monster.
I didn't realize for a large portion that it was one monster.
Yeah, well, a lot of tentacles with a lot of mouths.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I got really confused. I thought the tentacles were the monsters. Like, I didn't think that
I think that's what you meant to think at first.
Yeah, I thought they were like eels or something. Like, you know, that kind of creature. I didn't realize they were going to be attached to a giant Cthulhu monster.
Well, here's a question, referring back to the scenes that we've already seen. When they were confused about what was going on, did they say that there were things in the ship, or there was some thing?
There were things.
They're
Okay.
everywhere.
Those
They've,
things are
they've infested the
They
ship.
were under an assumption that there were many things,
Yes.
and I suppose that would be fair that
You
Ryan,
nailed
you
that.
would think that.
You know, that was a question.
Thank you.
No problem. So, this guy, this Daniel Day-Lewis looking guy, oddly enough.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
If
got
you
some
said
jaw
Daniel
definition.
Day-Lewis was at this, I'd believe you.
He's smoking a stick.
Chick with the muscles. Now, I'll be honest with you, Sam. I didn't think she had muscles. Am I wrong? Did I miss it?
She had
She
like
just-
yoga instructor muscles.
She just looked like she was just a chick. You know what I mean? I guess he could say that to anyone. Like, Bartek with the muscles. Like,
I suppose everybody does have muscles.
as the
Hey,
monsters
what's up,
find
Ryan?
out.
Otherwise, we'd be dead.
No, you just talk like yourself, Bartek. You don't have to play a character.
No, when I have muscles, I get deep.
No, but you always have muscles. That's the point.
But now I've got super muscles.
Oh, you do. Oh, that's not what I said. You're ruining it.
Wait, my muscles! They ran away.
Great banter, Bartek. That was like...
That wasn't banter, that was my one-man show.
It can still be a one-man banter.
No.
You had a conversation.
I talked to an audience.
An Audi car.
An audience.
Sponsored by Audi. Spin
audience.
Polish presents.
It's just a whole field with multiple Audis sitting in tiny seats.
What are you talking about cars, guys? I'm talking about audiences.
Alright, I'm not going to talk about Cars 3 and how it looks like a gritty reboot. You're right. When in fact it's just going to be another pile of shit.
I have a copy of Cars at home, but it's from Poland, so the title is Auta, which is Polish word plural for cars. I remember some of my friends once came over. It was actually Malloy, who's been on the show. He was like, Bartek, can we watch Auta? I'm like, it's pronounced Alta. Seriously, I can't believe some people can't pronounce Polish words.
I know that it's fucking hell, Sam. So, Sam, on how many times do you think you have watched this film in your lifetime?
Upward of 20.
20?
That's
This
more
is
than two.
this is a solid. I don't know what
Nice
I'm going to
editing.
watch, so I'm going to put on Deep Rising again movie.
Now, how many people have you shown this to in your lifetime?
My boyfriend and a girl at work because she likes a good monster movie.
Oh, he didn't mention
that-
you, Ryan.
Well, I'm the
I
boyfriend, clearly.
didn't. Strictly speaking, I didn't show it to him. I recommended it to him.
Yeah. One time, you
Got
know,
me there.
he got you there. Nailed you down.
Just like my muscles, everything's leaving.
Between our arguments about Batman versus Superman. Man
Hey,
of Steel.
hey, we're not talking about if Batman would win in a fight with the octopus.
Wait, you guys argue? I thought you had like the same opinions.
Who?
You two.
No, we didn't argue. He argues in general about
Oh,
Batman.
Someone could
v
agree with everything I say, and I'd still argue with them.
Okay.
Yeah, like Sam would be like, Man of Steel sucks. I'm like, yeah, it does. And you'll be like, you didn't say it sucked though. You just said, yeah, it does. Fuck you, Ryan.
You don't hate it enough. I need to show you all the reasons it sucks.
I've only seen the Ultimate Edition.
Well, you've seen the Ultimate suck.
Yeah. I was forced into watching it. To be fair.
Yeah, like a victim.
And
We're
my
just
friend,
completely
every
ignoring
time he mentions it, he's like, "Oh, Batman vs Superman Ultimate Edition." You don't have to specify it.
No, you really do, because it
He
ultimately
does.
sucks. You know, this movie could have done something that Batman v Superman really did do, which was utilize a great rock stacking sequence in the action.
Yes, they should take some time out from escaping the monster to stack some rocks. Oh,
Uh-oh.
Best bit.
I thought this was really weird when the camera panned up and it was just the director jerking off onto Benny. And he said, you want to be in my next movie? It's called The Mummy. No,
It's got also some.
this is our first glimpse of the monster. And Bartek, what did you think? CG still holds up?
No.
Excuse me. I didn't ask you. CG, I think it still holds up. I mean, you saw a handprint there. That was very revolutionary.
I think it looks good.
I think it looks... I like how they mix...
Some of it does.
practical and CG every now and then. Like, it's a great blend of artistic merit. And here he is.
This is great.
Now, see, the CG really works for this, as well as the physical elements. Hey, do you think he could have lived?
No, he certainly could have moved his hand.
How come?
Like, he doesn't have any muscles left to move his fingers.
But he's still okay, though. Yeah?
I'll be right. Just put a band-aid on it.
No
I
band-aid.
mean, it's not like they kill him, right? He dies as he is.
No,
so he
I
could
think it's
live.
because they didn't help him.
I mean,
Could've gone, it's like
define help.
Put a band-aid on it. We literally just said this.
Do they have band-aids?
It's a fucking ocean liner cruise ship. Of course they have
In
band.
this room, Ryan?
Yeah.
In this
Look at that
room?
cabinet. Could have been in there. Did they check Bartek? Did they check Bartek? No, they didn't.
They didn't check me.
They didn't check Bartek, and Bartek, they didn't check the room. They could have helped their friend Billy or
I would've
boat
been-
guy.
I would have
But
been
no,
5 years old by this
no.
point. I could have said something.
You could have said something. You could have walked up to Asian man here and said, "Yeah, look,
Ryan, Polish. I only spoke Polish.
I don't speak Bartek, so I'll be Bartek in Polish. Flibba-dibba-dib-dob, wikiwa." I don't know. I don't speak Polish.
Language.
That was very offensive, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I asked for a blowjob by asking for ice cream.
No, you said no, Ryan. You said, "Can I have another Holocaust, please?"
Oh, can I?
I mean, not. I don't have one.
You could if you tried. Hitler did it all by himself.
Got into Poland.
All by and lonesome.
All by his Zig Heilson. Sam, you didn't like that one?
I'm just distracted by her attempting to use her feminine wiles, but in fact he only wants a beer.
Yeah, well, that's Treat Williams
Oh,
for you.
and now she runs away.
What she doesn't know about Treat Williams is he's asexual and he only wants beer.
He's a sexual fella.
See, this is good.
Okay, this is something I really, really thought was going to play into something. See how it reacts?
Yeah.
And it's drawn to that.
kinda
I
cute.
thought it was going to. No, I thought it was going to be like Predator or Alien, in which they play with some kind of one of the sensory reactions of the creature, like distract the predator with heat vision by setting off explosions or whatever, and it'll go to that. Or
That would be too smart.
like this. Yeah, I thought,
like
oh,
a
is this creature attracted to like
Oh, you're like learning things about it and you
like,
think that's going to come back.
steam or something or blah blah blah?
Chekhov's facts or something.
Yeah, Chekhov's tentacle. We already went through this.
That was Chekhov's gum.
Yeah, now we're going through the tentacle.
And she saves the day.
And that she does. You know, she's a real heroin addict. And you can really tell by her gaunt face. That's why Famke Janssen has not really gone on to do much. Can we talk about her as an actress? Bartek, did you know her very well when we watched this movie? Were you like, oh, that's Jean Grey?
I really didn't recognize anyone in this film, but I did see X-Men 2 years ago, almost 10 years ago.
It's a very good movie. You should really rewatch it.
I remember liking it.
Yeah, it's probably the best.
It's the best.
It was written by the guy who voiced Solid Snake, so, you know.
Yeah, it's the best.
David Hayter.
What else was she? She was in an episode of Star Trek TNG. She macked on Picard.
Well, who hasn't?
Oh, leg in a hole. We've all had that problem.
And isn't that hole very, very vagina shaped?
Just like the monster's mouth.
See, with me here, I missed... for some reason, I glanced
How
over...
are you gay? You think vaginas look like that?
Well, it's either that or the pit of Cocoon at the start of Return of the Jedi. Or Predator mouths.
Yeah, that's what
For
vaginas.
some reason, every long shot here where you could see the hole, I kind of just glanced away. So I was like, wait, what's wrong? Did he, like, trip and he's not getting up?
Yeah, he's just a lazy fuck.
He's an old man and his hips gone out.
He's a lazy fuck who's really agitated, I guess.
I really thought the captain was going to live. I didn't. But I really wanted
He's
to.
expendable.
So Ryan, why do you say something and then immediately say that it's not?
Because I'm attention seeking,
Ryan,
alright?
what percentage truth are we on? I haven't been keeping count.
109%!
Okay, we made up for it.
So, Famke, you didn't know her very well. I knew her as Jean Grey, and I'll be honest, Sam, I don't really care for Famke. She's not my favourite X-Man. That's for sure.
Well, Jean Grey was always my favourite X-Man anyway.
Really? Did you not see Rogue? I mean, she was pretty hot in the cartoon.
See,
Am I wrong?
I haven't watched the cartoons. I've read the comics, like the good.
Oh,
late
okay,
70s
she's pretty
ones.
hot in the comics too.
Yeah, the late 70s
Burn
was
the
before
paper.
Rogue.
Da-na-na-na-na-na.
See,
My
now I've watched
favourite
cartoons.
X-Man in the movies has to be Kelsey Grammer as Beast.
Yes.
You've said that before, I think.
It angers me that he's wasted in that movie and that they don't have him properly in any of the other movies because he's the perfect casting choice in a superhero movie ever. Isn't he? When you say, oh yeah, Frasier from Cheers and the TV show Frasier is going to be Beast, you don't go, oh no, that's not fucking right. You
No,
go,
you're
that's
right.
fucking spot on.
No, Ryan, you say that's the Beast decision,
That's probably,
and then you grin to the camera.
that's really one of your
There's a
best
camera.
in your
I'll
mouth.
put my pants back on.
You aren't wearing pants. That's true. He's just got his dick on my desk. It's weird that he just slapped his hand on my desk. Now put your dick on my desk. Yeah, see? You didn't hear
Ryan's got
nothing.
both hands on the desk.
It's too heavy to lift onto the desk.
It's so little it didn't make a sound for us to hear. Only the daddy long leg spiders can hear it. So, I knew her from X-Men, and I'll be honest, the one thing I think about her is, I go, yeah, she's a lot like, who's the guy who plays Cyclops? James Marsden. Her and James Marsden are both the same actor, but different genders in terms of they're good at what they do, but they're always been gypped by the system. Like, in X-Men 3... Cyclops just dies like a
It's because I was
chump.
making Superman Returns.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting to. He dies off screen like a chump, and then she's in X-Men 3 doing her best that she can.
To stand there and look veiny.
Yeah, and she just dies like a chump.
They ruined
Can I
that
just
movie.
say that X-Men 3 is the first... I am not a big Marvel fan or anything, but X-Men is
Don't.
the first of the X-Men films that I watched.
X-Men 3.
X-Men 3. So I was
You
like,
really
poor
went
choice.
downhill.
Yeah, so I was like, well, they just had that character in one scene and killed him off. Okay.
Yeah, he was our main hero. And both of those actors in the X-Men franchise both kind of got gypped. They both get killed like chumps. You think they're going to lead on to something greater, perhaps, and they don't. And the thing is, you know, they're both saying because then, you know, like, with James Marsden, he's in that Superman movie, and he's the best part of that Superman movie, if I'm 100% honest, next to Kevin...
I think Parker Posey is the best part of that movie, thank you.
Kevin Spacey?
Parker Posey.
Kevin Spacey?
Parker Posey with Kevin Spacey.
Alright, we'll agree that the guy who played Superman was pretty good. So, the supermodel.
He was quite attractive.
And, sad Superman in that movie. So,
well, Superman's been sad since that movie.
Both actors played X-Men, and in their careers they have been kind of fucked over, you know, not appreciated, not really given the screen time they deserve. And that's why this is a great choice for an unappreciated masterpiece, because we have a truly unappreciated actress.
Yeah.
An actor with Treat Williamson.
She's done plenty of things. What was she in Nip Tuck, that Julian McMahon show where she's playing the sexy I'm gonna sleep with all the teenagers person? It turns out she's a transgender woman.
Well, that's great for her.
Yeah.
We all remember Nip Tuck as the quality TV show that made The Sopranos just bomb in the ratings.
Exactly.
Or
it had all the sex and the serial
You know,
killers.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer wished it was Nip Tuck.
We're getting into this again.
You know, Buffy the Vampire Slayer
is the best show.
It's shit in comparison to Nip Tuck.
Is the best show ever.
You know what's even shitter than Nip Tuck? Charmed. Which also
that
had Julian
show does
McMahon.
suck. That show does suck.
Why? It had Rose McGowan. A very young, attractive Rose McGowan.
Before she went all crazy.
Before she went super Nazi-esque feminist with the whole... did you hear about this?
God forbid people be vehemently
Let's get back into
pro-feminine.
X-Men. Rose McGowan single-handedly tried to destroy X-Men Apocalypse because one of the posters is of Apocalypse, the bad guy.
Oh, Choking Mystique. Yeah.
Choking Mystique, another bad guy.
I remember that. Well, she's not a bad guy in those movies.
She is. Mystique's always a bad guy.
She's not.
Fuck! That's why I don't like those new movies, because they're like, oh, we got Jennifer Lawrence and she's naturally too nice, so we can't make her a villain. Like, that's the real reason.
Well, Mystique in the comics is always a little bit sometimes evil, sometimes good.
But mostly evil. Mostly evil.
Mostly.
I like how you
She's
sat
also a
there in
lesbian.
silence and you're just like, I've nothing to say now, you're right.
She's also a lesbian.
Except for when she's not.
She's married to a woman at the moment. Or was.
And then she's had children to men that she also loved dearly until they died.
That was Nightcrawler.
Is she the blue one?
Yeah.
And that questions my input.
Yeah, Mystique's a blue bitch that's naked.
And then she has the kid who's the blue guy. Or blue
and
bitch.
She had a child with a red guy.
Oh, she's a kid.
Became the blue guy. Yeah, Nightcrawler, the teleporter guy.
The one who teleports is her.
I feel like I'm just some guy who's been out of the loop. Like, oh, they had a child. Oh, well, last time I saw them, they didn't have one.
Well, yeah, you know, that's what happens when you don't use condoms. Usually Mystique was a good Catholic girl. That's why she didn't use condoms, because they're against the church.
Yeah, condoms are very against the church.
I lived with a very, very psychotic Christian housemate, and she left a book behind in which she analysed the X-Men as a Christian allegory.
Despite it clearly being a gay allegory?
No, well, race allegory first, then gay allegory.
Well, the X-Men movies are pretty...
Oh, yeah, but she meant the X-Men in general. Like, not the movies, just in general. So she was like, Cyclops is just like Jesus, you know, he has the power of vision and wisdom.
He doesn't have the power of vision, he has the power of concussive blast that happens
to
come
but
out of his eyes.
that's his vision.
Like Jesus.
That's his vision power. Like, he technically does have vision powers. Like, not in terms of, oh, he can see things from far away, but you know what I mean, like, his vision does stuff. And she was like, oh, and Professor X, of course, is God. You know, like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, boy. She didn't even do Nightcrawler, who looks like a literal devil, so I don't know. Who's also the very Christian character of the X-Men, too.
Yeah.
I get the race allegory, but what's the gay allegory?
In the second movie, there's literally a scene where they say, did you try not being a mutant?
Oh, yeah, with the X-Men...
quite blatant.
Well, with the X-Men, in all fairness, you can... It depends the time period. You know, there can be a race allegory, there can be a gender allegory, there can be you know, a sexual allegory. It depends the time period they're from as well. Like, you know, like in the what was it, when the cartoon came out, the 90s and 80s, it was very, very gay as well. but also very race heavy as well, with like Jubilee is this little Asian girl who had like rocket powers. It's like,
it works. The real
So
question
it's-
is, what's the allegory about these tentacles?
Well, it's obviously an allegory for penis.
Yeah.
And how this director really loves tentacle penis.
Penises just get everywhere.
I really wanted this black guy to live. I actually wrote in my notes, yeah, fuck yeah, black guy. And I went, oh, fuck no, black guy, fuck no. Because I really thought, wouldn't it be great if one of the mercenaries lived?
Nah.
Why? Why can't they have a redemption arc, Sam?
Because they don't do anything worth redeeming.
What are you talking about? This guy saved them just now.
Yeah, he looks cool
He
too.
set off a grenade.
He does look cool.
He looks a bit. I think he might be French African based on his appearance.
Wow, you're just gonna go that? Yeah, I could see him underwater vaguely. Clearly French African.
I mean, I've seen the film.
Is that Keith David? I think so.
Keith David's not French African, is he?
You don't know that, do you?
Ryan,
Shut him up.
the Keith David films were, weeks ago. We're beyond that.
Yeah, every day. We should watch Keith David movie every day.
I wouldn't mind.
Pretty sure his organs would have been liquefied by that.
Hey!
Hey, I think Keith David could do a lot of films and not be liquefied.
So, Bartek, any questions you got for Sam here, who's a supreme expert on the movie and has an answer to every single thing?
Why did they fire in the room?
Broken ship, go boom.
That was actually a really good response.
This is the level podcast. Yeah, rate our podcast 5 stars, by the way. For quality like that. Why? What was it? Why is ship go fire? Because ship go.
No, why did they fire in room?
Broken ship, go boom.
And then you ruined it by Bartek by not going in a Dr. Seussian rhyme. So, sorry, the Dr. Seuss fans are really holding out for Deep Rising done by him, but he was dead by this
Why
point.
come he is loon?
Sam, I'm gonna take it.
Because they are facing doom.
Oh, see, there you go.
Your turn, Ryan.
I'm not a rhyme. I'm not a rapper.
I should have my own album.
I don't rap. I just crap. There you go, see? That was a rhyme. Happy with that? Now, here's the most sensible man in the room. I agree with him, and then this
He's
guy...
immediately proven wrong.
But hey. I would have left after that, but this guy got cocky. I didn't agree that he was right all the time, just in this moment. Like, I appreciate a moment where characters actually think for themselves instead of following the leader. Like, you could say this is a moment that stalls the movie by having us gun off and all this kind of stuff. But I like the fact that there are people who are like, no, fuck it, man. We should hold our ground and just fucking, kill the monster, live here, wait for rescue, all this. You understand, like, you don't go straight off the bat, well, Jason Flemyng's being unreasonable. You don't say that to yourself. You may say he's being fearful and not thinking it through all the way. But he isn't being truly unreasonable. But then, Treat Williams gives an amazing speech about an octopus.
He's really committed to it.
Yeah, this is what I was referring to earlier with the Asian in the bathroom.
Yeah, and this is...
It
sounds like an urban legend, the Asian in the bathroom.
It sounds funny, but you know what I mean.
Yes, I do get it.
You know what I love about going to a university with lots of Asian international students is at the university that we all went to, Deakin, they had signs on some of the toilets that showed you do not squat.
And the most troubling part of that is that in order to warrant having those nice signs made up, there must have been enough of a problem with shit on the seats.
Oh, there were people complaining about it online.
Here's the thing. How do they know that they were squatting just to shit on the seat? Maybe people just you know what I mean? Like, when did they figure it out that was the problem?
Well, I assume that...
you know what I mean?
Someone probably mentioned
I assume that if they thought that was normal, they wouldn't be hiding it. It's like, yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah.
It's not like they committed a crime and they're being sneaky. Like, oh, I didn't do that.
No, but you're not ashamed at all that you shit on a toilet.
You'd think you'd notice and go, I pooed on this seat. Maybe this isn't the right way to go about it.
Well, they didn't think that in English.
Now, I love how this guy just fucking wails. Look at him. He just takes it out
with
like
these
a
awesome guns that never run
Now,
out.
how many tentacles does this monster have? An
Lots.
octopus usually has 8. And this thing has octo in its name. But it has way more than 8.
Yes, I think it does.
Does it have, on each 8 tentacle, it has 8 on that tentacle?
A never-ending succession of tentacles.
Well, no.
Never-ending
It doesn't. Hey, how about if they just killed this monster by chopping off all its tentacles?
It has the other mouth.
Yeah, but then it would have to walk towards you.
It'll call its big brother, and the big brother will be very mad.
And that's the thing.
It's an even bigger squid monster.
This movie ends in the best way that you could ever end a movie, which... Look how it throws him around.
Yeah.
But no blood gets squirted out.
No.
This
baby goes to Ireland.
This movie has one of the best endings, which is...
It's legitimately a good ending, I think.
Which is, I don't know what it's trying to imply with its ending. Like, it's implying that there's going to be a sequel, but there's monsters on the island, and the island is a volcano?
It's basically Skull Island.
Is it an island that has come from the Jurassic Age?
Or it's actually a peninsula.
Oh, you gotta be there. It's not actually an island or a peninsula, Ryan. It's in fact a peanut, which is not in fact a nut, but a legume.
Legume.
Is that true?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Did you not know that?
They're not a nut.
I heard someone say something like peanut's not actually a nut, but they never went the full distance
Did you
of
know
telling
a
me.
peanut's not actually a nut? It's a legume. Yeah.
Oh, did Jerry tell you?
No, George told me. I'm sorry.
But with a Jerry impression?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. I'm done. I'm done with this peanut allegory. Let's get back to the big dark meat in the room. The fact that there are no black characters left anymore in this movie.
Or Asian.
To be fair, though.
It's all whiteys.
Oh no, there's Hannah.
To be fair, though.
An Asian man.
To be fair, though, the monster doesn't
Who's that?
eat the bodies; it just eats the fluids. So you can still have the meat,
And then they all end up looking the same in the end anyway.
and that's the beautiful message about race.
Yeah, it's telling us that if you skin everyone, they're all the same.
Everyone's red.
I really wanted to know a lot about Canton.
He's
Now-
kind of a dick.
Do we like Canton?
You do.
I do. But do we as a whole?
He's a good antagonist. Or as you think,
Oh, I
hero.
thought you were going to say he's chaotic good.
Chaotic good.
I don't know about that. I mean, when I play D&D, I think chaotic good is like murdering the children to save the town, but apparently that's evil.
That's what Anakin Skywalker did.
Yeah, that's chaotic.
See, that's good. That's some good filmmaking right there.
So, we're not a Canton fan, huh? Well, here's what I thought. He led them into this feeding ground, and it felt like, oh, he knows about this. Like, he knew to go away.
No, I think he knew it was going to be a problem, so then he knew to run away.
I figured that there was some room nearby where there was something he wanted, so that's why he was like taking the opportunity to get there.
Let me go on my thought process here.
Okay, I'll silence.
Will. He was the one that knew what the monster was. He was the one that not only made the ships, but he made the ship completely stop. Like, you know, at first, you meant to think, oh, the monster did or whatever, but okay. I thought, oh, he made the ship stop. He knows about the monster, and he's led them to this specific feeding ground. So, and then he runs away. I thought, is Canton in on this? No, seriously, I thought, is this a ritualistic thing? Like, is Canton...
What, some cultists?
Yeah, is Canton some evil cultist guy who feeds these people to this giant monster? You know, and, you know, he's using... And it's gone a bit. It's gone a bit out of It's gone a bit out of hand this time. Like he didn't properly think about it. You know, he didn't properly plan it through. So that's why he's a step or two ahead of them. But in the end, he just wanted to get to the boat quick. But
Run.
I love his run. And then my thing is, why did Canton need to murder these guys? Okay, like here's my thing. Why can't Canton not murder them? Because he knows that he knows that he needs them, but he kills them.
I think he's worried that they'll dob on him when he gets out.
No, that's why you grab the gun and shoot them.
Or leave them to the monsters.
But that's if. But he needs them to get the ship running.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if
Because
Treat Williams had the keys to the boat. Fucked.
But also, he doesn't know how to really operate a ship.
Maybe
He's already established this.
Maybe he's chaotic dum-dum.
Hey, here's a question I want to ask. You know when he threw a grenade, it didn't explode because he didn't twist it.
Yeah.
The other one explodes. With that one exploding, would that not explode the other one?
It's a good question. I think it depends on the way that it's made.
Well, I need an expert on this movie to tell me.
I'm not an expert on made-up grenades.
Excuse me. Is this not a documentary? I thought this was a true story about how Famke Janssen got the audition for Jean Grey, where they stuck her on a boat, her boat, and fed her and her friends to monsters, and whichever woman out of the two lived got to be Jean Grey. They were going to either go with a Korean...
Quite subversive to have a Korean Jean Grey.
Hey! The X-Men franchise is very, very, very progressive. They got an Australian to be Wolverine.
Would she still have been red-haired, is the real question? Because Jean Grey is famously red-headed.
Yeah. Asians can be red-headed. They can dye. You already went through the whole dyeing hair process.
Yeah.
Stop being a racist, Sam. What are you, the monster in this movie?
Yes, I am.
Is
I am, in fact,
racist?
Squidman.
Well,
No, it's quite
He ate all the Asians and the blacks first.
Maybe they taste better.
See? Racist.
I mean, you say that, Ryan, but did we not
and the Australian.
specifically? Sam mentioned
The
that
island,
the opening shots of the film was going through a lot of shipwrecks.
Yeah, but he eats the races he likes first, and then it's like this. It's like this. You know when you're eating, what's a tub of ice creams where they have like the 3 different flavors? You know,
Yeah,
like,
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
Neapolitan.
and then you're left with like the pink one, which no one really enjoys that much.
It's just the chocolate and the vanilla.
You eat the chocolate and just the vanilla, and then you're left with the pink one, and you're like, but you eat it eventually because it's there. That's what I'm saying about white people. They're just there.
With the pink.
We're the pink and the Neapolitan, like the one that nobody wants. Except for us whiteys. You know what I mean by that? Like, Benny...
Let's do our impression of white people.
What's the deal with white people?
I don't know. Tell me what the deal is.
That was very foreign for some reason. I don't know why.
Foreign people can be white.
You sound like when
mean
I do my impersonation of Christoph Waltz. You know, like, Christoph Waltz is intimidating. I've gone through this many times on the podcast. Christoph Waltz is truly intimidating because English is not his first language. Because he has to enunciate every single word, and the fact that he's putting in so much effort makes him intimidating. Like,
my favorite part is that I was just doing an American.
but with your natural Polish inflections, it just comes across foreign.
I was just speaking like this.
I thought this guy
looks
was
like he's shitting himself.
I thought he had Alzheimer's, and that was really sad.
Just sudden
He's
onset
old.
Alzheimer's. Worst time for it to happen.
What? Just the memory part of Alzheimer's?
Yeah, he forgot that he needed to stop shaking. And then I realized, why is the monster eating him so slowly? It's because he's Asian, that's why.
Drama.
Wait, but you said that it eats the ones...
Yeah, well, he's old.
I think it's because he's holding so tightly onto his
old,
gambling
so-
addiction.
Okay.
It's like, I like chicken, but I don't want to eat chicken that's off. And if I have to, I'll eat it slowly. For some reason, you know, like, you know what I mean? Or maybe he tastes shit. Like,
Maybe he does.
Maybe it's like the film we did last week, Guilt Trip, when Barbra Streisand was doing that eating competition. Like eventually, she had to slow down a bit because she was really full and she didn't think she can get through it.
Yep. You asshole.
He is an asshole, but he gets his karmic revenge.
Maybe Barbra Streisand took inspiration from this.
Yep. I agree with that. And you know what we haven't touched upon? The directing's great, of course. The editing, flawless. But the thing that really stands out... Sam, what do you think I'm going to say? It's not the effects. It's the music.
The music's actually great. It's like classic Godzilla movie.
The music is so 80s, but it's made in the 90s. It hurts like... The music, okay, it had the roaring lion sounds at the start, yeah, Bartek. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as it had the title, it was like this deep rising. And then like the moment of silence, you hear the water trickling, and then it was... It is like, what is this? Is this weird techno? Like, what
I thought you were
is
doing
happening?
the Benny Hill impression or something.
No, that would be...
Benny Hill impression. It sounded like a messed up Benny Hill.
No, it was actually more... I was referencing Star Trek, actually, deep down. In which there's an episode of Star Trek in which Spock and Kirk have to fight each other to the death. It has a famous catchphrase, a famous line, which is, I bet 400 quatlooms on the newcomer. And it has the famous music where it's like, it's like, yeah, fucking kill each other. So I bet 400 quatlooms on Benny. How many quatlooms do you bet?
I bet that Benny lives.
He doesn't in The Mummy, spoiler alert.
I bet all of my quadrooms that Famke Janssen survives and is hot.
Question, is she still hot now?
Well,
Because this is like
I'd
nearly
say
20 years ago.
I'd say she's beautiful in a womanly
It
way.
depends.
Okay, is she hot though?
I
Is
really
she
can't comment
inside
on
a
hot.
volcano?
Has she aged gracefully
I think
without
she has.
cosmetics
I
surgeries?
think she has.
Has she
think she
used
has.
cosmetics?
Yeah, I think she has.
Fucking Famke, why can't you be a hero?
What you saw her in the Days of Future Past movie? She popped up at the end.
Yeah, but she was so minor with a different hairstyle that I really didn't go, oh yeah.
She looks like herself.
Well, that's
like-
whose
Well,
fault is that?
Whoa,
Ryan?
whoa, whoa!
Ryan?
Hold on. We know the X-Men franchise aren't afraid of using digital trickery to make people look young and attractive. Hence X-Men 3 or Wolverine. You know, like I'm just saying. Oh, the Wolverine X-Men Origins.
Is
Oh,
this,
God,
is this
don't
leading
mention
to Ryan saying that Kelsey Grammer looked really hot in those films?
He was blue and hairy, which I like.
Oh, look, he's shedding a tear for Layla.
No, that's just Grease.
It's really hot in this boat.
No, you didn't do a good impersonation of him. Do it again.
It's really hot in this boat.
Pretty good, but it was more like. And then every now and then, Jesus! So,
Can't get this song stuck out of my head.
this is where they start to go into Jaws territory.
Jules.
It's got a jury rig your own weapon.
No, I'm kidding. It's actually a reference to the African Queen. No, it actually is. And have you seen the African Queen with Humphrey Bogart? At the end of that movie, they are going to be captured by I can't remember if it's Germans. I think it is because it's set during the First World War period, and they grab the African Queen. They stick a torpedo in it that they found from earlier in the movie, and they fly it towards a ship and kill a bunch of Germans.
Oh, how interesting.
And then the
I'm
movie-
sure Katharine Hepburn would be proud of the legacy her film has left.
She did win an Oscar for it,
Yes.
and it is one of the greatest films.
And it also gave us a great moment in Deep Rising.
Thank you, Katharine Hepburn. Oh, leave me alone. I'm just Katharine Hepburn.
Oh, we can tell it was Katharine Hepburn because you said I'm just Katharine Hepburn.
Yeah.
It's a very subtle performance there, lots of nuance.
Guys, who am I doing an impression of now? Oh, I'm Jerry Seinfeld.
Ah, muscles, Bartek. You're back.
Yeah.
It was actually weird because you sounded like more like Kramer.
I sounded. I was doing it and I was like, why am I putting a Kermit inflection on my Jerry Seinfeld?
Wouldn't it be great if someone respliced the Muppets by replacing Kermit's voice with Jerry's and then resplicing the
That would be
Seinfeld
good.
show with Jerry's voice
Miss Piggy.
with Kermit's? Yeah, it would be like, oh, I gotta do a Kermit. He's too deep.
Hello, Miss Piggy. It's
And
not
this
that hard.
this is where the guy becomes the villain of the movie. You know, this is where Anthony Heald said, "Hey, motherfucker,
Hey, motherfucker.
Give me a
I
flare
was in a
gun.
movie with Anthony Hopkins and he got an Oscar for only being in it for like 18 minutes and I was in it way more. Where's my fucking Oscar, Famke? Fucking eat flares, you
This
bitch!"
wasn't in the script. It's actually just him very angry.
Yeah. You know, I recently watched a movie that reminded me very much of this film. It was called Moonlight. And
I heard that one on an award.
it won several. And it had an actor in that movie. I can't remember the guy's name. He won the best supporting actor.
Mm-hmm.
And he's in that movie for a total of 7 minutes.
Really?
He supported it well.
And it made me think of Anthony Heald being angry about Anthony Hopkins winning an acting award for being in a movie that's 2 and a bit hours for 18 minutes.
Was that
It's
the
a very
Bridge
good
of
18
Spies one?
What?
Sorry, no, what was... Because one of the guys who was presenting won, like, Best Supporting Actor the previous year.
Oh, the guy in Bridge of Spies was in the movie Bridge of Spies a lot.
Was he? I
Yeah.
could have sworn people complaining that he wasn't in it.
No, what they're complaining was, we don't know who this guy is because we didn't see Bridge of Spies. That's the
Oh.
complaint.
Okay.
You know, it's like when Manchester by the Sea won. People like normal people like, I haven't seen Manchester by the Sea. What's this fucking guy? Casey Affleck. He's got it because it's Ben, right? His brother's Ben Affleck. Batman punched an Oscar judge in the face and went, "Vote for my rapist brother."
I don't think he was a rapist. I think he was a sexual assaulter. There's a difference.
Is there a difference?
Yes.
Sam?
Yes.
What's the difference?
Yes, rape is like forcibly having sex with someone, whereas sexual assault is just doing something a step before that. Because didn't he just grab them?
I don't
And, like,
know
be
Casey's
sexual
story.
innuendo?
I haven't even watched Manchester by the Sea.
Neither have I, but I have watched Deep Rising. Look at him run.
I have seen Manchester by the Sea.
And it wasn't as good. Well, okay.
Was there squid monsters in the sea?
Yeah, with Manchester by the Sea, could it have been improved with giant squid monsters?
Possibly, because it was set, as you can tell by the name of the film, by the sea.
Yeah, by Manchester, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like if they had been having their dramatic moment and it was then interrupted by a giant octopus.
This is true. On our last time episode with Sam, the Starsky and Hutch movie, I asked, could Starsky and Hutch been improved with a giant squid monster? Because we were talking about Deep Rising. And Bartek's answer, this is not a joke, was you floundered with your answer by going, well, you know, I guess adding a squid monster, you say? Ooh, I don't know. Ooh, I mean, couldn't hurt. So you weren't too sure. But now that you've watched a movie where they have added a giant squid monster...
Look at
Me, I'm a movie... And as Bartek said, he's not a monster movie connoisseur. I am. So I knew back then when I asked that question, yes, every movie could be, especially Starsky and Hutch, a comedy could be improved. Now that you've seen a movie with a giant squid monster, could Manchester by the Sea, Starsky and Hutch, all movies without giant squid monsters be improved with a giant squid monster? Bartek?
Well, it couldn't hurt.
No, it couldn't hurt. You know, I really wished that when I watched Moonlight, one of the gay black boys would have been a giant squid monster.
Wouldn't it have been better?
Or had a giant squid monster?
I know. I'll be honest, Sam. Like Moonlight, when I had a lot of anticipation for this movie, but unlike Moonlight, this met my anticipations and more. I saw Moonlight and I enjoyed it. It was a good film, but I don't know, it wasn't as spectacular as I was hoping, but it did a lot. This movie was as spectacular, if not more so, and it did even more.
And look at that.
Why
is this thing have another mouth? What's the point?
So this director's gone on to do a fair bit. He did the Mummy movies. Yes?
Yes.
Scorpion King. And
that's about it?
No, he did something else. After
Sounds
Scorpion.
like some very desert-based titles.
Nah, he really likes the sky. In all of those movies, flying's involved. Did he do Mummy 3?
I don't know if he did Mummy 3.
Yeah, because he was fucking dead by then.
3 mummies? That's a big house.
No, in the Mummy 3, the mummy's not even in it. It's
an
Asian mummy.
polyamorous relationship, actually.
That was a good one, Sam. I'm very proud of
I
you.
think it's a big household.
Very, very happy with you with that one,
a
Sam.
4-bedroom house. It's
So,
solid.
have we ever... We're all actors or have acted or created stuff.
Have delusions thereof.
Delusions of grandeur. I don't suffer it myself, and that's why God has picked me alone to do this podcast.
I don't have delusions, I just am.
Exactly. So, I want to know, is there a specific type of genre-based movie that you would like to star in? Like this, you know, like when you see a movie like this, have you ever wanted to be like, yeah, this is the type of movie I would want to be in, like, or a screwball comedy, like Screwball. So, what's a genre piece movie that you just would like to be in or part of?
I'm just down for anything, really.
Oh, thanks, Bartek. That was the
pays
neutral
me
answer.
money.
What was that?
Anything that pays.
You guys in your neutral.
I would definitely have said monster movie or zombie movie, which I suppose is a kind of monster movie. Or, rather than movie, Will and Grace. Just put me in Will and Grace. That looks like the most fun job in the world.
Could you please be Karen?
Well, that was kind of the intention. What do you think? I'm a gay guy or something? I'm clearly a rich woman.
I really wanted you to be the really cool black boss. In Will and Grace.
Yeah, but he's dead.
And that's really sad. That's why you should play him.
I'll just replace him.
And be in blackface.
I look like...
No, I'm honest. I say this honestly. I'm a comedy guy. Monster movies are fun, sure. But there's one movie that we've done on this show that inspired me, that I actually want to be in this type of genre. There was a movie we did called The Boy Next Door.
Yeah.
And I would love to be in a schlocky erotic thriller. That is something I am totally interested in.
What character would you play?
Yeah,
Schlocky?
that's what I'm
Because
asking.
I would play the principal.
Who shows up for one scene?
No, in The Boy Next Door, she's the main character.
Oh, I see.
That was
Vice Principal. Fuck me, I'm an idiot. Get out of here. But no, I would just like to be in an erotic thriller because I love how self-serious they are, but they're so silly. Like, even the greatest ones, like, you know...
The Boy Next Door.
The Boy Next Door, or... what's the one with Michael Douglas and Glenn... What's her name? Glenn Close.
Oh, Fatal Attraction?
Fatal Attraction. Like, even the most serious ones of those, you just can't help but go...
It's a little bit ridiculous.
I love to be in that kind of movie. Come on, Bartek, you gave me such a nonchalant, I'll just do anything.
But isn't that a good attitude to have?
I'm getting you to give me a specific. Come on, isn't there not one? Like, have you never wanted to be like in a noir or gangster or a slapstick comedy or silent movie?
I mean,
anime. I don't know. It is Bartek's son. See, it's really annoying being on a podcast because you can't see when my lips just keep moving after I've said something.
I mean, we heard that.
I mean, visual comedy in the podcast.
I'm really good at visual comedy. That's why I'm doing a podcast.
Is this you being in denial, Ryan?
Oh, no, I'm not in Egypt. So...
Whatever movie I did, I would hope it ends in a jet ski chase.
You know what movie I see Sam in? And this is no joke. I see Sam being in a Will Ferrell comedy as Will Ferrell's hairdresser who gives him the same semi-afro haircut.
And knows that it's a punishment.
And no, you're ignorant. Like, you have a little fro hair, because you used to have somewhat curlier hair back in the day.
Yeah.
You didn't know any better. and
it's just nature.
And you'll be like, you know what they say, a Jew fro gets the girls. And you're like way over the top gay.
So I can only play gay characters, is that it?
In a Will Ferrell movie, yeah.
Is that it?
In a Will Ferrell movie, yeah.
You typecasting me?
No, in a Will Ferrell movie, you typecast, yeah.
Better. It's better than when I was typecast at university. I always played rapists.
Gay rapists?
Once?
Would you play Will Ferrell in Starsky and Hutch?
He said rapists!
That one's just like dragons.
We don't know what he was in prison for in that movie.
Loving dragons too much.
Raping dragons too much. Now back to dragon raping. This guy's raping the water with his jet ski. Now I was really worried.
Podcast with a lot of raping.
Also, this is a film that
What was
oppresses
that?
women.
What was that?
I'm glad this podcast has a lot of raping references.
In every episode, we somehow involve rape because each movie involves rape most of the time. This is one of the few movies in the long plethora we've done it recent that hasn't involved sexual assault or rape.
I'm pretty sure that people into hentai would see this as a raping movie.
Hey, Anthony Heald just got raped by a bomb.
And this bomb's gonna rape the shit
out of his face. So, yeah,
See, I will say though, I hate when there's a really good way to kill the bad guy, like slowly digested alive, but then they just get blown up instead, and like some other character who didn't do anything wrong got horribly digested alive.
Yeah, no, Sam, this guy needs glasses. You wear glasses.
Well, he took them off.
No, they fell off.
I mean, if you think about it really hard, the universe took them off.
Thank you. See, that shot showed the surfboard just then, so that's cool.
I will say that a terrible Roy Scheider, I think it was straight to TV movie.
Roy Scheider?
Roy Scheider, yes, the guy from Jaws.
And Marathon Man, yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't be bothered making their own ship explosion, so they stole this one and forgot to digitally change the name of the ship.
Yep, I saw that in the trivia.
Yes, I saw the movie.
Was it your favourite movie?
Yes.
Because you saw Deep Rising involved?
Yeah, it's definitely my favourite. I was like, oh, I remember that.
So, you wear glasses. That villain wore glasses. He had a trouble seeing. How bad is it for you to see?
I could see you fine, but I would not be able to see the television. It would just be a nice, at the moment, orangey smear.
Is a smear right now?
You should look harder.
Roger Ebert said it was a smear.
Oh, poor little Squiddy.
This film's a smear.
Poor Squiddy.
It wasn't
Come on, like that's not a great movie explosion.
It wasn't a squid, it was an octopus. This film
Think there's enough dynamite there, Butch?
Now, they're jet skiing away in the sea. Now, that's very important for me, because I was really concerned that their tactic was to use a jet ski. And I was like, well, won't the waves be pretty hectic out in the storm?
I mean, Ryan, do you not remember the fact that there was a speedboat earlier in the film?
Yeah, but that fell off the ship.
Yeah, it didn't sink until it got hit.
By the other boat.
Yeah, but there was no one in it, so it might have flipped at some point, and the people
You
got...
say in, but you're more like on a speedboat rather than...
sorry, I'm getting distracted by
You're gonna get sand in your shoes, there, Famke.
Janssen. I'll be honest, I was really disappointed with the lack of nips. No, I'll be honest. In movies we've watched, women, when they've encountered the cold or the wet, especially in the 90s where bras didn't exist for some reason, nips prevalent, and she's obviously wearing a bra, and I'll be honest, even with bras, a lot of these movies, they get drenched and there will be something there. In this movie, I actually question how much water she was drenched in, because it looks like they just wet her hair and just went,
well,
they'll think that her
They might have been
wet.
on the land for a while.
No, they literally just got out of water.
No, they didn't literally just got out of the water, because he was trying to fix the thing, and she happened to find
Alright,
something.
what about this here, where she's clearly in the water now?
Well, we'll see.
So, Ryan,
we'll see if her chest gets wet.
Do you think the Nickelodeon Pictures film Snow Day looked at this and said, we can be more sexy
We can
than
do
this?
more nips.
They really did do a lot of nips in Snow Day.
In our episode
But
on Snow Day,
I
Ryan
think
can't stop talking about the nips.
It's because I have seen so many people discuss the movie Snow Day and never discuss the biggest thing I've ever noticed about that movie, which is supreme nip blasting in a kid's movie. This isn't a kid's movie, so it doesn't have nip blasting, and that's what I'm really saying is, since this isn't a kid's movie, there are no nipples involved.
Nips are for kids, because after all,
What do babies suck
where
on?
do babies feed from?
We've already gone through this in a Three Musketeers episode, so let's not.
Did we?
Yeah, babies are birthed from the nipples, according to
Oh,
Bartek.
that's right. I did say that.
Bartek thinks babies are born from nipples.
Oh, dear.
I did then, but then I read a book.
And that book was called
that's
Mein Kampf, and it really taught me a lot. Benny, now, Bartek, did you think he was dead?
No,
Off-screen dead.
I thought he'd be alive.
I actually thought he was dead, and I got genuinely angry at this movie, because I went, that's cheap.
Benny's alive.
Because I've had off-screen deaths in this movie
Oh, look, there's a
before,
monster.
so I wasn't surprised. Now, do we think this monster's another octopus monster?
No, it's some other kind of monster on Volcano Island, and they're fucked.
Oh, and there's dinosaur birds.
Yeah.
Pterodactyls?
No, dinosaur birds. So the movie is now ended. The subtitles stay on for now what? Because it really wanted us. Did you know the original catchphrase was "What now"?
That's actually true. IMDb trivia, look it up.
So
God
the movie
forbid.
is finally ended. It is unfortunate that Deep Rising cannot be playing again. Thanks, Rob. He is actually a famous.
Jerry Goldsmith
creature.
did the music.
Thanks,
he's
Jerry.
done a lot of
a lot
things.
of famous people involved in this. Yeah, that's good. So we're going to move on to our ratings and our reviews of ratings of our choice and our reviews. Bartek, let's hear from you first. Now what?
Now what? Now's my review, Ryan.
No one ever usually answered his question of now what either. Like, now what? Shut the fuck up. That's what. Like, no one ever said that to him.
It's like, dude, that is a very inappropriate question.
Okay,
We
James.
are fighting for our lives here, and you're just trying to give all this unnecessary, irrelevant questions to us while we're trying to survive. That's what now.
Okay. Go.
If I had to give it a rating, I'd say it was a decent question to ask. I would have answered it.
Alright, you gonna give us your review?
It is always, I was going to say breathtaking, but it's always relieving and gives you a really nice feeling in your heart when we on this show cover a genre that maybe we haven't touched yet. Like, I remember when we did you just mentioned it before, The Boy Next Door. It was really relieving to finally acknowledge, yes, there are erotic thrillers out there. There are films that we can do on this show that have very sexually provocative content in it. And this film too, I would say, can be on that film's level because it gives us a true horror survival kind of film. Like you mentioned earlier, Ryan, that sometimes you just want to watch a film where you don't have to necessarily identify like characters because you know, yeah, they can just be fodder for the monster to do gore with.
Yeah.
To put it in one way. And it's a really big shame that every single type of genre can be criticized so harshly by Roger Ebert and other such... I know, it's funny, isn't it?
Because they're wrong.
Because
They
they're
are
wrong.
wrong.
That every genre can be so harshly criticized and not shown for what it can really do for us. I mean, if we take it at its core, entertainment. What is entertainment? I mean, to be really, really basic about it, it's just, finding enjoyment, killing time, feeling something that's worth feeling. And as we've proven, there is a certain gentleman on this show right now who has watched this film at least 20 times.
At least, probably more.
I've only watched it twice now.
Yeah, same here. And we all feel something for it, and that in itself means that there's value in it. Even if it might not be, the deepest film ever made, like
it's pretty deep in the sea where the monster came from.
Yeah, but the deep rose in this film, so it's not very deep by definition.
It did. And you can feel free to use that as a rating for your reviews. What?
Nothing, Kiko. You're a legend.
Thank you, Ryan. This film is one that is worth your time. It is worth your love. And if you can find it on DVD, unlike some people here who couldn't find it on DVD because it was very hard, truly that means that this film is it's a T word, guys. You know what it is?
Treasure.
That's right. It is a treasure. This film is a treasure.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's like reassure, but you have a T at the start and it's spelled a bit differently.
Yeah.
You can quote me on that, everyone.
At his funeral, I'll announce that in the eulogy.
All the
this is
episodes.
what Bartek had to say about Deep Rising.
This is what Bartek had to say about reassure and treasure. No context. Keep going, my
It's like
prince.
I'm a prince now.
You'll be a king if you finish.
Fuck yeah, finish like a penis in
No,
sex.
we're Polish. We're not Finnish.
Haha!
Polish.
Haha! Get it?
Then why'd you tell me to finish?
Just calm down, my liege.
Is this because I read Mein Kampf like you said earlier, maybe?
Yeah, now you're getting all Hitlery on us.
Inevitably
Well,
happens.
if I'm Hitler, Ryan, remember that you are Polish.
Industrial Light and Magic did the special effects.
Great job. Where was the magic?
Sure, this is the feather in their cap whenever someone asks
Well,
them,
right.
what is Industrial Light and Magic doing? They don't say Star Wars, they don't say Indy Jones, they say Deep Rising.
Isn't entertainment magic at its core?
Yeah.
The true magic of the world. You got this isn't really magic, but aliens. They come from another planet, they have different things about their culture. They come to Earth, they're like, what is the fantastic sci-fi magic of this planet? And we're like, entertainment. And where better to start? Check out that one right there. It's called Deep Rising. 1998.
Out of?
I'd give it the full 1998, I reckon.
1998 out of 2000.
If I have to give this film a rating, then the rating that I will give it is... No. Stop, everyone. There's been a mistake. Deep Rising. You guys won Best Picture.
Retroactive.
Well, I'm going to go into my review and rating, Sam.
This is not a joke. You guys won Best Picture.
Thanks, Rob. So, here we go. Deep Rising. A title that is as just mysterious and or confusing as the plot line of the movie itself. But that is where the general masses got stuck, I think. I think people couldn't handle Finney and Trilly and Canty and Benny. People couldn't handle their adventures. But that's the thing. This was going to be a sequel. This was going to have a sequel. This was going to be a movie where it was going to be a franchise. And you know how you watch a movie like Batman v Superman and it frustrates you and you don't have all the answers, but you know deep down that you're going to get those answers in further installments. I think this is the case with that. People, unlike with Batman v Superman, didn't bend over backwards exposing their sphincters to defend the product like they did with Batman v Superman because they just weren't ready for a property that was original and new and that was building up a world. This film is a genius piece of art. This film has a lot to say about tentacles.
Such as?
And that's all I have to say about that. If I had to give this a rating, I would give it 8 tentacles out of who knows how many tentacles, but I imagine it's not more than 8 for an octopus-like creature.
So you can comfortably assume 100%.
100% tentacle. 100 tentacle action.
Sam, let's hear from you, the true king of Deep Rising.
Just to let everyone know, Ryan said you. He's not talking about the letter. He's talking about, like, referring to Sam.
I could be speaking computer talk.
Well, you do a good job at it.
Hashtag at Langsford, Sam.
I think I've got a better screen name than that, but I don't have one. This film that terrified me as a child, particularly as the credits described him, half-digested Billy. Some might think, like Mr. Ebert, that it is something not worth watching, that it is a stain upon cinema's histories, that the characters and the plot and the action and those special effects don't add up to a delightful hour and 45 minutes. But in fact, I would challenge them to go in with an open mind, possibly not opened by the digesting processes of these tentacle monster things.
No, hope not.
And just enjoy it for what it is. My guns don't run out. There's lots of tentacle monsters. These characters are disposable, action, horror, gooey thing. And so I rate it 5 gooey digested skulls out of 5.
Yay! Best.
Yay!
Now, Bartek, you and I have collected comments and or reviews.
Did you just assume my actions?
You didn't find a quiz for this?
I didn't, but when I looked up on Google Deep Rising quiz, one of the results was a quiz, and the name of the quiz was "How much do you love Malcolm Turnbull?"
Not enough.
So what you're saying is Malcolm Turnbull
He's a giant squid monster of Australia, yeah.
Just so to let everyone know, Malcolm Turnbull is our Prime Minister.
Yeah, he's our Supreme Chancellor of the Senate of Darkness. So, Bartek, you have YouTube comments, I have IMDb reviews. I have collected about 5 or 6 great IMDb reviews, and Bartek has a great handful of YouTube comments. I'm going to launch straight into... Now, with these reviews, I have often said in the past, I haven't said in a while, that they've been written from a universe that is not our own. This is why
you say dimension.
Dimension. This time it's written in our dimension.
Oh.
And I'm not saying that Sam Langsford single-handedly wrote every single positive IMDb review, but I think he did. This one's from 2002, Sam Langsford. It's officially the best film ever made. You remember this review. Deep Rising is one of the best films ever made, if not the best. That's right. I'm making a bold statement, but it's true. Clearly, many of you will disagree, but when you've seen the evidence that I put forward, I don't think you'll be able to argue. Number 1, The Godfather. The Godfather was less believable than Deep Rising and also lacked such things as multi-barreled assault rifles, jet skis, and huge torpedoes. Deep Rising, however, did not.
That's true.
Number 2, Raging Bull. No half-digested / half-alive bodies. No engine room full of bloody bones or cool-looking harpoon guns. Deep Rising had all these things. Number 3, Citizen Kane. A worthy try, but in the end, Orson Welles' decision to omit a massive underwater squid monsters left this film floundering. Deep Rising came up trumps in this department.
Deep rose up.
Casablanca fails to deliver. Number 4, Casablanca fails to deliver on every account. Most notably, no one gets pulled down a toilet. Again, Deep Rising excels. The sad thing is that if The Color Purple had included a raid on a sinking cruise liner infested with sub-aqua monsters as part of the film, then it too would have climbed to the top of my favorite movie list. But as with most films, the director took the easy way out and chose to ignore the very overlooked area of filmmaking. In my aquatic monster / cruise liner catastrophe marking system, Deep Rising gets a colossal 4 shrimps, but the rather lacking Godfather only gets 3 anglefish and a haddock.
Okay.
That was the first review.
I do like that you brought up the mental image of Whoopi Goldberg yelling at a giant squid monster.
But let's hear some YouTube comments that were also written by Sam.
Yes. I have many accounts.
Actually, the first one probably was written by Sam because it was just, I love this movie. Not too serious, but fun to watch.
I bet it is.
The next one might not have been written by Sam, or maybe he was drunk, I don't know.
Sam is drunk.
It is, I love this movie, stupid open ending, I want a sequel. And the next one also might actually be by Sam because I binged the fuck out of this movie.
How do you binge a single movie?
You watch it again
Congratulations
and
on doing
again
it.
and again, back to
I see.
back, every day, all day. You fucking mustn't have written that one then.
The next one also, I guess, might be written by Sam because they survive all that just to end up at Jurassic Park. Shit!
Oh.
And there's a response to this one, so I don't know if you responded to yourself or someone else.
He did.
Yeah, screw that. Either shoot myself or run like hell to a cave small enough to hide from whatever creature it was.
That's a great
Well,
contribution.
I'm going to give you the second review here, written by Sam in 2005,
Uh-huh.
from the big city. That's the location this is put in. Stephen Sommers' best film. It's just a tad better than the... And this is a 9-star review, guys. This is just a tad better than the first Mummy, and it wheezes on Van Helsing like an incontinent dog.
That must have been
When
a-
I first saw this movie, I had no idea what to expect. I was at the cinema one night. I just come out of a movie, can't remember which, and I saw the poster. The tagline, "Full Scream Ahead," seemed corny enough that it might be good. Then I noticed Famke Janssen
Ooh, it is
was
written by me.
was in it. Bonus! Like that's a sentence on its own. Bonus! And it seemed like a good late night B movie to follow the one I had just seen. I was there with a mate of mine who was kind of indifferent. I twisted his arm and he agreed. 2 hours later, I walked out grinning like an idiot. It's silly, cliche heavy, and utterly predictable. This movie rocks! See, Sommers and all the actors know that it's silly, cliche heavy, and predictable. In fact, that's the idea. It's also full of spot-on one-liners and gags, and the horror bits seem more intended to gross out than to actually scare. The bit where a half-digested member of the team bursts out of one of the monsters, still alive despite half his head missing, is not for the weak of stomach. Most thrillers and horror movies set out to keep you on the edge of your seat, but with this one, I was too busy falling out of it with laughter. See, he's already falling out. Treat is, well, a treat,
Oh,
as
there
Finnegan,
There
the
it is.
rugged, all-American adventurer type. For a while, I was disappointed that Bruce Campbell, that was the guy I was referring to, Bruce Campbell wasn't cast in the role, as it would have suited him perfectly, but I've since decided that Treat does a bang-up job and deserves full praise. If he does do more movies like this, I might become a fan. I might.
Has he done any movies since this?
No, he's done TV shows. Kevin J. O'Connor is hilarious as a sidekick grease monkey and performs all the better for not having to put on a stupid accent. He gets most of the best lines. Famke is great as always. Sexy, funny, and capable in the action scenes. Anthony Heald as the villain is hammy and over the top in a good way. And Wes is, well, Wes. Just, that's all I have to say about him. All the goons are fine, particularly Jason Flemyng and the late Trevor Goddard. It's nice to see a good mix of nationalities in there, and the playful infighting amongst them is a nice touch. Their assault rifles are cool too. Funny though, I never noticed anyone reloading. The special effects are just bad enough to work in this context without appearing too lame. A few years before this movie was made, they had actually been considered to be brilliant. But Sommers realizes that sometimes it's best not to actually show the monsters. They swim along under the knee-deep water. The walls of the corridors buckle and threaten to collapse. Gratings fly out of the floor directly behind the running characters. Very effective. The climax is about as far-fetched as it's possible to get, but it's done so well. Like all this movie's flaws, it doesn't matter. If you're easily scared, this will do the job. If you like tongue-in-cheek B-grade action flicks, this is one to see. If you like movies that force you to think, make you change your outlook on life, and move you to tears, yeah, you should really watch this to see what you're missing out on. That was one. You want to hit us with one more? With some of yours, Bartek?
Sure. This one
I'm
has
Sean Connery.
a series of responses, but the initial comment is, "Damn, for night."
Sorry, just before you said that. And he's like, and the initial comment is, damn.
I'll start again. Hello, listening people. That's a joke. Alright, the comment is, damn. For 1998, these effects are kick-ass. I wish movies nowadays were like how they were back then. And the first response is, bitch please, you haven't seen any good movies nowadays that practical effects, Interstellar, Force Awakens and more. Another response was, you mean with shitty CGI? And this is when the initial commenter responded. I think it looks better than it does now. And the response for that one is, then you're just blinded by your nostalgia, dude. You can't objectively say that what you see in that video looks better than the CGI we produce today because it just isn't. The level of detail in integration nowadays is objectively much better. And the initial commenter just gave one last response. Ugh! Okay, thank you. Jesus, now because of this small comment I left like 5 months ago, now I'm getting all this shit back. Why do all of my comments have so much activity?
Okay, my phone was blowing up that day. I got really upset.
Yeah. Did they respond? Did anyone respond to that?
I think that was the last comment.
Oh man, we should respond to it.
But I'll read another.
Just to piss them off.
Well, the comments from like a
Listen
year
to
ago.
our podcast.
Yeah, listen to our podcast. We mentioned you.
I tried to pronounce that series of random letters. Another comment we have here is, I remember watching this when I was a kid.
Oh, that's Sam again.
And I've spent years trying to figure out what it was called. I've searched giant octopus with face tentacles on a cruise ship so many times. So
many.
Thanks for this. And the response, lol, I'm you. I search ugly octopus on huge ship.
Right, I'll read you I have 3 reviews left. I'm going to read 2 back to back.
I've got 6.
This one is written by a guy called Art Vanderlei, but I think it's actually Sam. From 2002, again.
Was that hold on, is that a Seinfeld?
Yeah.
Yeah. Took me a
That's
second.
his fake name for George. Now, this one is a 10-star review called This Put the Wowzers in My Trousers. See? Rap. Okay, so this
Sam.
puts the wowzers in my trousers. 10 stars. What now? No question there.
Okay.
That's a yelling statement. What now?
What now?
I have just watched this film after a period of disappointment in the current state of mainstream movies such as Hannibal, Star Wars Episode 1, etc. And I can say that this is a bit of a cracker, and no mistake, it rocks along at a hell of a pace. The film seems to last only about an hour and is never less than total entertainment. Yeah, sure, it's cliche, but sometimes that's exactly what the doctor ordered. As for the lead, played by Treat Williams, glib does not begin to describe his nature, and in my opinion, is the #1 action hero. I can only hope for some kind of sequel, as I'd rather see more of this than any amount of mummy movies. Sam was really angry, but then Sam, 2002 again, wrote a movie review with no rating in the stars. He just wrote, Now What? That's the title. Good reference, Sam.
I was in year 6 at the time. I had a lot of
I caught the reference.
Such a comfortable old friend, this movie.
Wait, does this review contain spoilers?
Oh yes, it contains spoilers. Such a comfortable old friend, this movie. Love it. Entertainment with a capital E. Stephen Sommers was hired to direct a B-grade monster movie with limited funds, limited actors, and limited FX, and to keep it entertaining. Well, I'm here to tell you, he most certainly succeeded. In the grade scale of things, this flick was never going to matter, make much money, or pull too many votes at the Academy Awards, but I tell you what, it's as honest as the day is long, unpretentious, undemanding, but heaps of fun as Treat Williams squares off against a pathetically organized gang of boat nappers hired by the owner to sink his own cruise ship purely for the insurance payout. Gorgeous Famke Janssen, with whom I have wanted to have children since GoldenEye, plays the femme fatale in Slinky Red.
Sorry. I'm going to have to pause here mid-review for a few minutes while I have a cold shower. She, Finnegan, and his...
Because he's feeling hot.
She, Finnegan, and his best friend Joey, I think he means Benny, but okay,
It's Joey.
must neutralize not only the terrorists, but the somewhat awesome sea creature that disposed of most of everybody in gruesome fashion on board. The... What was it?
Argonautica.
See, he nailed it. What makes this film so watchable, quite apart from Miss Janssen's cleavage, is the repartee, terrific characterizations, and remarkably good CGI effects on show. This is not a film to critically analyze, simply to enjoy. And if you can't do that, you have serious issues to deal with. A total B grader that makes no attempt to disguise its pedigree. I consider it to be a winner on all levels. Great ending too. Of course, if you fully understand the meaning of my 2-word summary. That's just what he had to say there. At the end. You know, by the title. Now what? So, Bartek, hit us with your last YouTube comments. Sam, buckle yourself in because these are going to be a roller coaster ride.
Whoa! That's the fall.
Splat.
That's so sad.
He committed suicide so young. He had so many
This is like our Gulliver's Travels
X-Men.
episode all
He had
over
so
again.
many X-Men allegories to tell us about.
I've
Too
got more.
bad Sam's now a ghost here on the podcast. A ghost of his former self.
You know what would cheer us up? More comments.
I'm commenting now.
This next comment here is from someone who's just looked at the video and decided, oh, I know what this is.
This is a trailer for the movie.
So, a reverse hentai then, in that instead of the tentacle entering you, you enter the tentacle. Hot. And he spells hot H-A-W-T. And it's its own sentence.
Oh dear lord.
The next
That
comment...
was best.
Someone is definitely getting off to this movie.
The next comment is, if this were a hentai, it'd be called Deep Descending.
Good one, but not as good as the other one.
No.
Yep.
Started off with the goal.
Our third of the last 6 comments is, I've seen enough hentai to know where this is going.
Well,
To a big room filled with melted skeletons.
No, unfortunately, that's
no, to jet skiing.
Whee!
unfortunately, that's it for the hentai comments.
Aww.
The next 2 are about a similar topic, though, and the initial comment for this one is, R.I.P. Asian bathroom lady.
Aww.
And the response is, she was rich. More cash dollar for the monster. Mon and stir, apparently 2 different words.
Poor monster, he just wanted cash.
I just want your
Did you
money,
know that
buddy.
he was actually trying to rob the vault? But he couldn't get his squid hands around it, even though they can open jars?
It was actually a big plot the whole time to get her to open the thing for him, and then he was going to get it. I see.
Guys, this next comment is, I'm still afraid of the toilet scene even to this day. But don't worry, guys, the response, lightens it up.
Oh, thank God, it's the monster.
And it's, the monster was just, the monster just tried to help with her constipation problem, smiley face.
I'm very happy that he helped her with that.
Yes.
Very considerate.
She had stools with blood in them.
Yeah, she did. I think she might need to go to a doctor. That's why he was taking her off to when he pulled her
Guys,
into the toilet.
he did say tried to help.
Wow.
She's dead now.
And the final comment, it's the final comment.
We can't get the copyright to that song, Bartek, so don't use it.
That's why I sang it shit like I do, because I'm shit at singing.
That's true, he is shit.
That's self-deprecation, guys. The final comment is,
Just facts.
how does a creature that swallows its food whole make such a huge mess? I propose that the ship shouldn't be full of bodies, it should be full of monster poop.
That's kind of what it is, though.
Well, guys, I have the single greatest review for this movie that you could ever have in your hands. This is from another dimension, a dimension that even the other dimensional reviews have not been tackled
So
by.
it's not Sam?
This is Sam from an alternate dimension.
Oh, okay.
One of the best, most underappreciated games. Non-stop.
Is this going where I think it's going?
No. Now hold on to your seat, because you're thinking many things. But we'll get into our thought process after this review.
Okay.
The best, one of the most underappreciated games. 9 stars. 2007 this came out, by the way. Original released in 1990 for the TurboGrafx 16 console. Oh fuck.
TurboGrafx 16.
16 console. Bonk's Adventure was a cute and lovable platformer that introduced a lovable character, Bonk, who would eventually go on to become the system's mascot. Many people missed out on this underappreciated classic, mainly due to the failure of that console. However, now Bonk Adventure has become available on Wii's Virtual Console service. While it remains clear that Bonk hasn't aged very well, it still remains that everyone who missed out on this classic should give it a look. In Bonk's Adventure, you have to take control of the lovable character Bonk, as he single-handedly must save Princess Za from the evil King Drool. This means fighting through many different lands and hordes of enemies to get to the king himself. To fight off the forces of evil, Bonk must use his Fed. His Fed. No, seriously, that's no fabrication. While characters like Mario are known for jumping on their enemies to wipe them out, Bonk uses his large, oversized head to bash out the forces of evil. Albeit headbutting enemies, falling headfirst on them, or even flying through the air and letting his head take out all the baddies for him. His name is Bonk, and he lets his head do the work. But I guess you didn't know his name was Bonk.
Dear.
There are 5 worlds in Bonk's Adventure. Each has many levels and eventually a boss at the end of the world. You can move pretty briefly through these worlds and could eventually complete the game in only an hour or so. Adding this to unfortunate factor is the fact that Bonk's Adventure is a very easy game. While the game never really had a very high level of challenge back in its day, it's even more apparent now playing the game in 2007. It's one of the real drawbacks of the game. That shows that Bonk's Adventure just doesn't hold up very well to today's standards. From a presentation standpoint, Bonk did wonders for the TurboGrafx 16 console, and Bonk's Adventure still holds up fairly well. While it still has the same problem that the other console games on the Virtual Console have had, being a little washed out visually, the graphics still look very nice and colorful. The worlds are vibrant and cheerful and do a good job of giving the world of Bonk its own special personality. The sound is also decent. The tunes and music that take place in each world are nice and enjoyable for the ears. And while none of it is very memorable, it is still a good experience for your time in the game. The sound effects, on the other hand, do not hold up quite as well as the music. But they are not terrible. Or will grate... But they're not terrible, or will grate at your nerves. While it's very apparent that Bonk's Adventure hasn't aged well over the years, it's still an irresistibly fun game for the hour or so it lasts, and will give some insight into what is without a doubt one of the most unsung mascots of video game history, as well as give some people an idea of what the TurboGrafx 16 console was like. The game is going for 600 Wii points, or $6, for the download of the Virtual Console. And while the game is short and very easy, it's more than likely that it will find it a worthy purchase after it's all said and done. And that was a review on the IMDb message board of reviews for Deep Rising.
You know, I think on my Wii I actually have 600 points I haven't used yet.
You gonna buy Bonk's Adventure?
I could.
Do it.
Essentially, I've already paid for it if I do.
Yay! Thanks, Sam, for that great recommendation of Bonk's Adventure. It was great to have you on to do a review of Bonk's Adventure. I'm very glad that we dedicated this unappreciated masterpiece to Bonk's Adventure. Did I mention his name's Bonk?
No,
and he's on an
I missed it.
adventure?
So I got confused at one point because it said something about him throwing his head, and
I think he uses his head as the weapon instead of jumping.
It confused me with this other game called Pluck.
No, you're not thinking of that. You're thinking of Bonk.
Yes, not Plock.
No, it's
Plock's-
Bonk's Adventure.
Plock's not after, his princess and the evil king. He's after his pants.
Yeah, well, there you go. So, Sam, thank you for being on for Bonk's Adventure. Bartek, thank you for being on for Bonk's Adventure. Ryan, thank you for being on Bonk's Adventure. And the audience, may you always be Bonk's Adventure to each other.
Deep Rising.
That too.
We also did Deep Rising.
That was the other part. That was like the first.
You
15
forgot.
minutes.
You forgot. Ryan.
I forgot that Deep Rising was in the Bonk universe. Or the
Yes.
Bonkverse.
I was hoping when the review read out that what he actually attacked with was. I was hoping they were going to say with like tentacle monsters.
Yeah, tentacle monsters.
Yes.
So, thank you very much, guys. You guys have an amazing, fantastic, wonderful, bonkered people. Sam, we'll have you on again for Bonk's Adventure Part 2,
I look forward to
in
it.
which Bonk adventures more.
The princess gets caught again. Ugh.
Yep. As always, guys, remember to be bonk to each other.
Yes. And special guest has just arrived. Let's listen to what they have to say.
Hi, Rachel.
Does anybody want some twisties?
Fuck yeah, I want twisties!
Audience, do you want twisties?
Mmm, the twisties.
Yeah, and they're green.
They're chicken flavored.
Audience,
Oh, chicken
do
flavored.
you want green twisties?
Let's review, because life's pretty straight without twisties chicken.
Let me have a taste of this.
It's like Brad tries, Ryan.
Nah, it's no Bonk's Adventure, that's for sure. That's a 9-star game.
Let's go play Bonk's Adventure.
Hey, it tastes like chicken. Clap, 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 clap.
Alright, guys, we're having to go now.
Wait, Sam hasn't had his review yet.
Sorry, Sam, give you a review on the
twisties.
Yeah. Are there any Bonk's Adventure?
Could do with more head bonking.
More head bonking.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we're off now. We have to go play some Bonk's Adventure.
And you should thank us, because this is 2 reviews in one episode. 3 reviews in one episode. Bonk, Deep Rising, and Twisty's Chicken.
Bonk Twisty Rising.
So you're welcome.